Did I stutter?
He has time, launches it to the end zone. Touchdown! Terrence Williams!
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
The 2011 winner of the Heisman Trophy is Robert Griffin III, RG3!
Welcome to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Langoliers, base hit to center, and the Baylor Bears win their first Big 12 tournament championship.
Their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Yep, just ready for OU.
You can't handle the truth.
Here's Drake Toll.
Woo! Here we go on your Tuesday. Drake Toll alongside JD Piquel, the Blonde Boys Power Hour, the Permian, Booby Miles drip. Yep. This guy going like a little mock neck with the coffee today. Come on, it's Tuesday. Welcome to Up Tempo. Last night, a big night in college basketball because the Baylor Bears were playing the number 2 team in the country. Gets it done for the first time in 3 years against Kansas at the Farrell Center, 77-69. This guy bet his firstborn child for the fourth time in his life. He's already lost 3 of them. For the 4th time that Baylor covers at 8.5. Final score, Baylor 77, Kansas 69.
How are you going to get on the radio show? First thing is just a blatant lie. You can't lie to the people on a big Victory Tuesday, but nonetheless, that might be the worst beat. For everybody that did have that, that was unequivocally the worst beat I have ever seen.
Oh, because it didn't matter remotely for the...
I don't even know who that guy was.
And he nailed it.
He just pulled up.
Barely.
Cold-blooded.
0.9 on the clock. He's like, I'm just going to shoot this half-court shot. I've seen so many teams do that, except not shoot it. They just catch it, and they're like, all right, ball game. And the dude drains it from 45 feet out to make what's got to be the worst beat because it's on national television. And those who took, like, if you took the line, you're sitting there watching it going, yeah, this is it.
Which we both said don't do.
Right.
We both said don't do that.
But if you did, you are so excited. Baylor's up 16 at one point. Like, okay. 8.5 is easy. Like, it's going to be an 8.5-point game at least. And then it's a 5-point game. You're like, okay, is Baylor even going to win? And then Baylor stretches this thing back out to 12. You're looking good. Next thing you know, boom! It's an 11-point game. Kansas drains a 3.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Horrific beat. That was almost the biggest story on Twitter last night was the beat, not even the win. Because for a few minutes, it was like, oh my gosh, they just covered the 8 or 8.5, whatever it was. But yeah, man, I think in terms of the game itself, hard to be too upset if you're anyone. But I mean, if you're a Baylor fan, hard to be upset at all. Changing of the guard in terms of Big 12 powerhouses, in terms of being a big dog in the Big 12. I
saw you tweeted that.
I did tweet that. And I shameless plug, did tweet that. Caught a little heat from it from some Kansas fans, but that's to be expected. Yeah, man, I mean, you got to be so happy with the way your team played in a big game like that. Rose to the occasion in a stage where it would have been very Baylor-esque for previous teams to not measure up on a big stage or to choke or whatever have you, but to follow through in the way they did, so exciting for them and for Jared Butler to have 30.
Jared Butler scores 30. 8 assists, 7 for 9 from deep. Jared Butler goes absolutely bonkers last night. Unbelievable game. Naismith Trophy award-winning performance.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the guy he's a top 5 player in college basketball right now. I think he's definitely top 2. Luka Garza is still number 1 in most people's books. But when you drop a 30-piece
on that stage, too.
On Kansas,
on that stage
against a top 10 team,
after he'd been on a slump too. I mean, the last 2 games have been like, hey, they're winning, but where's Jared Butler? It's good news we're winning because Jared Butler's not playing his best ball, but where's Jared Butler? And then last night, he'd been averaging like 16, I think, for the season, had 17 in the first half, like you mentioned, 7 for 9 from deep. So cool to see him rise up on the biggest stage and to be such a force and for Baylor to have such an emphatic win. They didn't cover, but such an emphatic win for Baylor.
They didn't cover, but it's tough to discount the fact Jared Butler has 58 combined points in the last 2 games against teams ranked number 15 in the country and number 9 in the country. 1 on the road and 1 against a Kansas squad that Baylor hasn't beaten in the Farrell Center in years. Now Jared Butler drops a 30-piece. Not only that, 7 for 9 for 3. And obviously, like fate stared Jared Butler in the eyes and cowered down last night.
Yeah.
Because he was the catalyst for Baylor's win. If you don't have Jared Butler, Baylor loses. Yep. Now, granted, they beat Kansas. Like I don't want to be the guy that's nitpicking Baylor and what they've done, or what they did last night. But at the same time, it wouldn't take an expert to realize the Baylor team has that on-off switch, that when they flip it on, they're the best team in the country, bar none. When that switch is off, they're beatable.
Yeah.
They're beatable.
Yep.
That said, they know exactly when to turn that thing on. I just want to see them. I felt like Illinois was the best game they played this season where that on switch was just, it stayed on. Last night, however, you saw them turn it off a couple of times, especially late in the game. Offense goes stagnant, silly turnovers, stupid stuff, and you got to crawl out thanks to Jared Butler going 7 for 9. Bonkers from deep.
Yeah, you mentioned it. The turnovers were bad. I think there was some pretty questionable defense at times, bad transitions, bad rotations. But as a whole, I think you're right. You don't want to lean too much on Jared Butler. Like without Jared Butler's 30-piece, probably lose. I mean, if Jared Butler shows up and has a pedestrian night, 10 to 15 points, they probably lose. But the fact that they were able to lean on him, the fact that they were able to turn it on, like that's all really encouraging. That like, hey, this is a big stage, and our best player stepped up big time.
Big question today out there, is Baylor a lock for the Final Four? So I was thinking about that last night, and I am so confident that this Baylor team, from what I've seen so far, is going to the Final Four. We are going to cover a Final Four team in Waco if Baylor plays remotely level to what they've been doing. That said, if that switch goes to off for too long and you play a Gonzaga or you play a Michigan, who's kind of volatile right now, you play a Michigan team like that, I'm worried.
Yeah.
I don't see a team that's necessarily invincible. Are they the best team in college basketball? Quite possibly so. But when that switch is off, it's not anything spectacular.
Lock is such a tough word to put on it, right? I mean, because you said when they're on, they probably are the best team in the country. And I don't know if there's too many teams or too many people that would disagree with you on that point. But just like anybody else, if they're pedestrian, if they're not playing their best ball, they're beatable. And that's almost verbatim what you just said, but I think it's a really good point. I think I'm a little bit concerned about this Baylor team peaking too early.
That happened last year.
Yeah,
That's exactly what happened last year.
And Jared Butler even said, hey, we're a better team than last year. We learned from last year. We're all professional basketball players. We take this game seriously. And so that's encouraging. I think there's a lot of maturity on this team, which will play well for them down the stretch and play well for them, especially in March. But as a whole, I think you just have to make sure that you're taking it a game at a time. Obviously, COVID adds a whole new variable to it. Who's healthy at what point? And so I'd love to see this Baylor team finish, obviously win the Big 12, but I think you do pay some mind to, okay, when is the right time to get hot? And teams don't control that. Teams don't think about that. But as a fan, as an analyst that we are, I think that is something you kind of look at and say, lock, I don't know. Are they capable of being a lock? Are they capable of being a Final Four team? Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think if you ask a lot of analysts from a national standpoint, they would probably say Baylor's a lock right now. And again, lock's a strong word, but remember the Kentucky team that was so dominant in, what was it, 2015? The Harrison Twins.
Like the Monstars.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
they end up losing in the Final Four, but they were effectively a lock for the Final Four. They could have gone 40-0, and no one would have been necessarily surprised. I think Baylor's a lot like that. They're a bit more subtle because they're not a blue blood.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That,
no,
they don't.
They're not.
I think one of the questions that's been posed is, where's the banner?
Yeah.
How can you be considered a blue blood and not have a banner hanging up in the last 20 years? Now, I think Baylor's on the cusp of that. I think a win this year puts them not just in the conversation, but as a lock. If you win a title this year, Baylor's a lock for a blue blood. That said, right now, if you ask most national analysts, it's comparable to that 2016, 2015 Kentucky team where I think Baylor and Gonzaga, I just don't see who beats them on the road to the Final Four or even until they see each other.
Yeah, I think they just have to catch the wrong team at the wrong time is what it would come down to, which I guess is March Madness as a whole. But, I mean, what it comes down to is timing. Timing is everything, especially in March. But riffing on your comment about Baylor being a blue blood, I think they have a lot of the makeup except that banner, right? Like they have you look at every single blue blood, they have a coach that's been around for a long time, winning culture. The titles just aren't there for Baylor right now, but that's not to say they won't be in the years to come, especially if Scott Drew stays around like I think we all expect he will.
Can Scott Drew coach?
Scott Drew can coach.
Anybody in the studio, can Scott Drew coach?
Guy can coach.
The guy can coach. Well, we still have that conversation. That conversation was happening last night in the midst of Baylor, who's the number 2 team in the country. They very well, and that poses into, I'll finish my point there. Scott Drew can coach. But that falls into, okay, so now what? What's Baylor's outlook for when Gonzaga goes through their Pacific Conference and they're beating up on San Francisco and Pepperdine and St. Mary's?
Yeah.
Great. What, strength of schedule is what for Gonzaga?
Yeah.
While Baylor's playing Kansas, Texas Tech, Texas, West Virginia. If Baylor keeps winning these games, and you could even make a case after last night, why? Why should they not be the number 1 team in the country?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's going to be something that hopefully some analysts look at and say, hey, should we give Baylor some more consideration for the number 1 spot? Long run, I think it favors Baylor because you're going to get to the tournament, and Gonzaga will have played nobody until, the Sweet 16, Elite 8. And Baylor will have gone through the gauntlet. Maybe they'll have more losses. Maybe they'll be more beat up. But as a whole, they'll be more battle-tested and more ready for those big matchups, which I think is going to ultimately bode well. But early in the season, it's frustrating because we're Baylor fans here sitting, hey, why is Baylor not number 1? They just beat the number 9 team, and it wasn't even really that close to the score predicted last night.
I think they very well could end up being number 1 in the next AP poll, especially if they beat Oklahoma State on the road this weekend. And OSU has proved they should probably be a top 25 team. I'm confused as to why they're not. If Baylor does beat them on the road, there's clout in that. There's something to be said about beating OSU on the road. This is not a Kansas State. This is not a TCU. It would be another feather in the Bears' cap.
Be a good win.
And I would be surprised. My problem is Baylor coming into the weekend had 2 votes for first place in the AP poll, okay? Gonzaga had 62. Baylor beats Texas Tech Monday. Poll release. Baylor, 2 votes. Gonzaga 62. Gonzaga beat St. Mary's of California. St. Mary's has a losing record. Baylor beat a top 15 team on the road, and you're telling me not a single analyst was like, hey, yeah, they might be the best team in the country.
You just kind of shrug your shoulders, right? You just say, well, what are you looking for then? What's the criteria? And I think one thing that I think about is Baylor flashy enough for some of these people? Like Baylor doesn't have the big, lottery pick. Jared Butler probably go high. I don't know if it'd be a lottery pick. I don't know enough about the NBA draft, quite frankly, to tell you that. But, I mean, they don't have the guys that a lot of the blue bloods typically have. Like every year you see a guy from Duke going in the top 10. Every year you see somebody from one of these big schools that I think does honestly help you in the rankings. I think it does. I think it's a big deal to have somebody who you can, put your name behind who's going to be a top pick in the NBA draft. And I think Jared Butler will go high, but I don't know if he'll go that high.
According to Ken Palm right now, Gonzaga #1 in the country, Baylor #2. Gonzaga from the WCC. I think that's at the Pacific. We'll figure it out. Adjusted strength of schedule, Baylor 97th in the country, Gonzaga 92. Now, I bet that changes. I bet that's it's through Monday, January 18. So I bet that as we go on will change as Baylor plays better opponents. But come on, man. Two analysts that vote, 2 voters in the AP Top 25 think Baylor is the #1 team in the country.
Yeah. Which makes me think, what do I not know about Gonzaga?
Right.
I mean, if 6...
They do have three of the top 10 players in the country.
Yeah, which I think therein lies the point. If you have that flash, that probably gives you some more help. I mean, they're probably thinking also down the stretch.
But they're not. Are they a blue blood? Is Gonzaga a blue blood?
I think they are just under a blue. I don't think they're a blue blood. I think they're in the conversation, though, much like Baylor right now.
What is so frustrating for me is that people are using the whole Gonzaga, blue blood, Baylor, new blood. Scott Drew has won 18 or more games every year the past, 12 years? And Baylor's a new blood? Have you not been watching college basketball? Have you just been blinders?
Yeah, also throw Gonzaga in the Big 12 and see how they do. I'm sure they'd be in the upper echelon, but I don't know that they go toe-to-toe every single week with the same schedule Baylor does. I think that's a very real conversation I think we should be having.
Gonzaga beats Kansas in the first game of the year by 12.
Good.
They beat Auburn. Auburn's not very good. Okay, Gonzaga wins against West Virginia, Iowa, Kansas. Great. Here's the rest of Gonzaga's schedule. San Diego, Pacific, LMU, Pepperdine, watch out, trap game, Santa Clara. Who's going to win that one?
Steve Nash went there.
Steve Nash did go to Santa Clara.
He doesn't go there anymore.
San Diego, San Francisco, Pacific, BYU.
Yeah.
Guys.
And that's the thing, the schedule itself, if it's front-loaded, you just got to go hard for those 5-6 weeks, and after that,
imagine.
I mean, you're chilling.
Imagine playing no one for 6 weeks and be like, all right, here's Kansas. Go.
And does that help you? Does that help you, or does that hurt you long term? Right? I don't think it helps you at all.
Look at Baylor's non-conference schedule in the last 10 years in football, and everybody's like, all right, you got your first 3 wins down against Abilene Christian, Lamar, and Stephen F. Austin. Congrats, guys.
They played Duke. Duke was pretty good.
They did play Duke. I discount. I'm talking more
no, I know what you mean. I know.
I'm
being nitpicky. I know what you're saying.
Guest list today on Uptempo, 11:25. Paul Jobson joins us, the head soccer coach at Baylor University. That dude has built one of the best soccer programs in the country, a team that was Big 12 champions a couple years back. You know who coached the Baylor soccer team before Paul Jobson was the head coach?
Scott Drew.
This guy doesn't miss. You don't miss. No, it was his wife.
Oh, Mrs. Jobson.
Yes.
There we go.
Actually.
There it is.
12:05, Casey Maxwell joins us. Coach Maxwell, the equestrian team. And then 12:30, Morgan Uber from the Big 12 Conference will zoom in and let us know her thoughts on last night's Baylor and Kansas game. If I know you're out there, I know I'm talking to you. If you're out there and you're watching on Twitter right now, on Periscope, and you're scrolling through and you're watching Uptempo and you think, I would love to keep watching this, but I don't want to stay on Twitter. You don't have to. If you have a TV, pop it on your TV.
Boom.
Roku, YouTube Live. Go to YouTube, look up SicEm365.
I love it.
You can go to Alexa. Your Alexa will play it. We are in podcast form, right, Armstrong? Armstrong's nodding. We're in he's screaming now. We're in podcast form on Spotify. You can go there. There's a super cool commercial. Armstrong and I made a commercial the other day, and I think it's my favorite commercial.
Was it the Anchor one?
It is the Anchor one.
Yeah, I listened to that. That was good. That was good stuff. I like that.
Like the Anchor commercial?
I like that, yeah.
The Anchor commercial is one of my favorite things now. 254-339-1122. You can get in on the action. Call us or text us. Is Baylor a lock for the Final Four? Are they a lock? Is this Baylor team going to the Final Four? Number 2 in Ken Palm, right behind Gonzaga. 13-0 on the year. They've won every game this season by 8 or more points, and they've played some dominant programs, but they just keep winning. On top of that, in our guest list, we've got the Bear games today. How about it? There's some tough matchups. Kendall Wright and Ahmad Dixon, James Lynch and Terrence Williams. Those are your 2 matchups today. And our Bear games question of the day, you can quarantine with one Baylor coach. Who is it and why?
Are you asking me right now?
Yeah.
I would say Jens Danielson, but he's no longer an option.
He's no longer with us. He's gone to the assistant offensive line GA coaching staff in the sky.
You know what? Joey McGuire is one of the nicest human beings that I was able to interact with in my short time with the Baylor
You
program.
did play at Baylor.
Joey McGuire, I think, would be my pick. I love Joey McGuire.
Well, you played at Baylor?
I guess if you want to say played. Played is a
This
strong
guy scored
word.
3 touchdowns his junior season in the opener against Delaware when he played for Cornell.
Oh, yeah.
The Fighting
Legend.
Bears.
I knew that.
Yeah.
That's not
Legend.
all the way factual.
Yeah, this guy played college
Armstrong, I
football.
feel like that was kind of sarcastic. Like,
Almost
kinda
an
hurt my
Olympic
feelings.
It
bobsledder.
was sarcastic.
It kind of hurt my feelings. I
Steven
don't
from
understand why that was
Virginia is
warranted.
on the line. Steven, you're on with Uptempo. I'm sorry.
No, not you. Armstrong.
I know.
Guys,
On
I'm
his
watching y'all on TV. It's so exciting.
We're on TV? Armstrong, you got us on TV?
Yeah, I'm watching.
We have brand new
I'm
software.
watching y'all on TV. Also, I don't know if people in Texas get the Comcast Xfinity cable provider. If you do, you can speak into your remote, say SicEm365 on YouTube, and it will pull it up.
Mom!
There we go.
I didn't even know that.
I
There
can
we
say it
go.
in my remote and I'm on TV. Mom!
Let's go.
This guy's on TV
That's
too.
big.
Steven, let's go. You got it to work.
Yeah, I'm
impressive.
sitting here watching. I wanted to say, thank God I didn't bet on Baylor to cover.
Yeah.
Y'all
jeez.
hit that. That was the worst beat of worst beats. I did pick them to hit the over, though, and they did hit the over.
Yeah, good.
So I'm 1-2 on that. Baylor's defense is, like Dick Vitale said on SicEm365, the best defense in the country.
Baby!
The only reason that game was close is because Kansas is a Goliath in the way that Goliath programs hit big shots.
True.
When their backs are against the wall. It always feels like if you're playing Duke or Kentucky or Kansas or someone like that, if you're up 11-2 and they're coming down the floor, they're going to hit a big three, whether there's a hand in your face or not. So Baylor was really good at making them take tough twos. Kansas played really well in the second half to make that a close game. But overall, a great win for the Bears. And I got to say, I'm looking around and I'm feeling pretty confident. There are some Big 12 games that have been canceled, and the other contenders have lost some games. You might want to put a fork in it and say that the Baylor is going to win their first Big 12 championship this year.
Oh, the separation
gosh.
is like visible at this point. Like the separation is not comfortable necessarily, but it's there. And you should be confident in the separation Baylor is garnering in the Big 12 race.
When you look at it and you say Kansas now has 3 losses in conference play, Texas has 2 losses in conference play, and Baylor doesn't have any, that's a huge lead. And we're already talking about games that were canceled not being made up. So when you talk about that, that gives that we're talking about. I know other conferences. I pay attention to the Atlantic 10 pretty closely. You know, St. Louis can't get a game in because everybody else has COVID. You know, St. Louis is like 7-1. So I look at it and I say a lot of these conferences aren't going to be able to reschedule these games. And that's really bad for Texas because Texas, in order to win this conference, needs to beat Baylor twice.
Yep. And I don't see it happening.
I think a part of me, too, doesn't want Baylor to win. Like, I would love for Baylor to be able to reschedule all of these games and play all of these games and just remove any asterisk that would be next to Baylor winning the Big 12. Because you know that would be just the absolute, mating call of every single Big 12 fan.
What a very interesting way to word that.
Don't you think?
And the mating call.
Call was a great...
I think they would be ready. You hear them. I think that's I hate to get on a Baylor soapbox here, but I feel
Do
like,
it.
When Baylor wins, it's kind of like easy for other Big 12 fans to find ways to invalidate it. But I got to be honest with you. This Baylor basketball team was the best team in the country last year, too. And they didn't get an opportunity to play in that tournament. So if they won the tournament this year, and let's say they won the Big 12 and they won the NCAA, and let's say they even went undefeated, but they only played 22 games. And people would say, oh, well, they didn't go 40-0,
Yeah,
so it's not that
absolutely
big
right.
of a deal.
Yeah, absolutely right.
This is a big deal, and I will not let anybody take that away. This is the best team in the country. It's been the best team in the country 2 years in a row, and Baylor may not be a blue blood, but they put up blue blood numbers for the past 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
So if this trend continues, that's what they're going to be. This train is not slowing down. They have the number 1 recruiting class in the Big 12 in 2021. This train is not slowing down.
No, Baylor's here to stay.
Baylor is a big-time school.
All right, Stephen from Virginia, Baylor is here to stay, and so are the Bear Games. Bear Games questions of the day in our matchup. Kendall Wright or Maud Dixon?
This was really hard. I know we're getting into the harder part of the bracket here. I want to mention that Ahmad Dixon, like I said last time, was the first big recruit to flip from Texas to Baylor and bring kids to Art Briles. But Kendall Wright was a first-round draft pick, and that means something around here. His production was ridiculous. You go watch him against Kansas State. You go watch him against Oklahoma in 2011. He was ridiculous. He was the best receiver in the country that year, and that's a big, big deal.
Coming up on a guest and a break right here, Steven. James Lynch or Terrence Williams?
If Terrence Williams hadn't wrecked his Lamborghini in Dallas, I'd pick T-Dub. I'm just messing with T-Dub. But I got James Lynch.
Yeah, and which Baylor coach are you quarantining with?
Scott Drew. That's not a hard question.
Wow, I like that.
We'd make it.
All right, Stephen from Virginia, thanks for your call.
Take it easy.
The regulars, baby. All right, I'm Bad Haircut. That's JD Piquel. Armstrong Sims is our producer. We've got Paul Jobson, the head soccer coach, coming up next after this on Up Tempo.
Across college athletics last night, the number 2 Baylor men's basketball team boasted a 77-69 win over 9th-ranked Kansas in the Farrell Center, thanks to Jared Butler's 30 points and 8 assists, shooting 7 for 9 from deep.
Another ball screen from Tchamwa Tchatchoua. Another 3 for Butler.
With the win, the Bears improved to 9-1 against ranked teams over the last 2 seasons, and the game marked Baylor's first win against Kansas in the Farrell Center in 3 seasons. Elsewhere, number 23 UConn lost at home to unranked St. John's 74-70, and Florida State won at Louisville 78-65. In tennis, number 15 Baylor swept SMU twice yesterday to keep their record perfect on the season, and the 23rd ranked women swept Rice 7-0 in Waco as they also remain unscathed. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
When it comes to hauling the family and hauling cargo, see Alan Samuels. Get the king of minivans, the award-winning Chrysler Pacifica, or America's lowest price third-row crossover, Dodge Journey. During the Big Finish event, get 0%, no payments for 90 days, and employee pricing for all on Pacifica. It's minivan first class. And get employee pricing for all on new 2020 Dodge Journeys. Happy holidays from your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
19 feet, 5.75 inches. A new NCAA record for Casey Lightfoot.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122. For your company's mass COVID testing, log on to impacthealthlabs.com. Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo. For a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Wow. Let's go! It's Tuesday. School has started back today. The Bears are home, baby. Drake Toll alongside JD Piquel for the Blonde Boys Power Hour. Bring it on. Big win against Kansas last night. Back in the studio again today to break it down. And now we bring on Paul Jobson, the head soccer coach at Baylor University, the head Bear coach. Thanks so much for joining us.
To celebrate a win over Kansas than to have the soccer coach on for sure. So I'm stoked, man.
That's why we called you. We knew that you would be the one to give us the best insight on this, and so we wanted to bring you in.
Well, I appreciate that. Maybe we'll talk some soccer too, you know?
Coach, were you at the game?
No, I did not. Did not make the game. We started school today, and my boys are in school, so the television is the best way for us to gain that media.
Beautiful.
Wow. So, Coach, here's where we'll start. You know, things have kind of been thrown for a loop, especially in the soccer volleyball realms where your season kind of flips. When you look at a spring schedule and the fact that you're staring down the barrel of more soccer possibly in the spring, what does your schedule look like now, and how is that going to change things for you?
You know, in some ways it's exciting because, you know, normally we hit the spring and it's a developmental time for us, which is great. And we'll miss some of that. But the reality of being able to play games that count and still leading up to a NCAA tournament possibility here at the end of the spring just adds to the excitement and the motivation to try to get more done. You know, we brought in a huge freshman class in the fall, and it's gonna help develop them probably even more than a normal spring would for us. So we're able to get in probably about 7 more games and give ourselves the best opportunity to qualify for an NCAA tournament.
And Coach, you mentioned that freshman class will be even more developed given the new schedule. Do you anticipate more of those freshmen contributing earlier than a normal year?
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw even this last fall how many stepped up to contribute, you know, and we had a few that were coming out of injury. So, yeah, we'll see more. But the great thing is, on top of that, in developing our youngsters, is that we get all our veterans back too. You know, I always say as coaches in college sports, you get your kids right where you want them developmentally, and then they graduate, right? So the fortunate thing that's maybe come from COVID is that we get to keep our veterans too. So we get to keep our veterans, and we've developed our young players even more So I'm really excited about this spring and how that's also going to develop us in the next fall.
Coach, looking back at last fall's schedule, a tie against number 4 Oklahoma State. You beat number 5 Kansas at home, not in a neck and neck, not close loss 2-1 against West Virginia in a game. It's Baylor, West Virginia every year. I mean, that is the game. But you've got a gauntlet of the schedule in the Big 12, especially with those teams back to back to back. How well did that fall slate prepare you guys to now play in a spring slate that gives you opportunity to compete for the postseason?
Well, I mean, you want to compete against the best, right? I mean, you compete against the best, it makes you better. So yeah, it's going to prepare us. And we've got, it's not official yet what our spring schedule is. Everybody's battling still COVID, trying to figure out what's what. But we've got a great schedule. We've got some tough teams. We've got hopefully a couple of SEC teams. And then because of COVID and what other conferences are doing, we're going to replay some conference teams, which is always great. And that's going to, so playing the conference season in the fall and not really having any preseason games that led up to it, just jumping right in. Our freshmen were thrown to the fire, and they stepped up in a big way to that. And I think that's going to prepare us to be ready for whatever this spring is going to throw at us. So I know the girls are excited to get back at it.
Coach, you are the all-times win leader for Baylor women's soccer. Do you have bragging rights over your wife, who also held the position? And if so, how often do you exercise those bragging rights?
I don't if I want a place to sleep and a place to eat. Okay, she still runs the world as far as I'm concerned. So be careful what you say if you're not ready for the repercussions of that. But the person that was the most excited about that was her. And we've always said that, we've done this together from the first game back when we were in Northern Illinois. We did this together, and it's always been an us thing. But I will say she's happy to join me in the wins, but she will not claim any of my losses.
Wow. So the rivalry only goes a certain way there. But Coach, we play a lot of games on Up Tempo. And some of my favorite have to do with like word association. So I'm going to give you 2 words, and you're going to give me the first thing that comes to your mind right here. This is a little psychological experiment. As I do start psychology. I have psychology class this semester. I start today. Real. Jennifer Want. Go.
Wall.
That's okay. And now I'm going to give you the opportunity to expound on that. Why you say Wall?
She's our goalkeeper, right? And her job is to keep the ball out of the net. Nothing gets through her. She is a wall. Things just don't get through her. So Wall came to me first and foremost. So that's why.
So literal. You gave it so literal right there. What does she mean to your team and her presence that she brings you? I mean, she's maybe the best soccer player in program history, and certainly in that conversation, without a doubt.
Especially in that position. And, we've always prided ourselves in being a defense mentality team so that we don't have to rely a ton on our goalkeeper. But when we do, they've got to come up in big ways, because if players have gotten through to that position where they're going to get an opportunity to score a goal, they've had to do a lot. And Jen's had to come up in some really big ways. I mean, we see, if all you catch of soccer are the highlight reels, you're going to see a lot of Jen Want because she's got 1 or 2 highlight reels every game. She can get the easy things. She can get the hard things. And not only that, she's been a great leader from the back. She's a general from the back. She knows the game, understands the game, knows what we're trying to do as a team, and does a great job leading back there. So another kid that we're just stoked that she has decided to stick around for one more fall.
Absolutely. And Coach, in a weird year, it seems like across all sports now more than ever, coaches are learning so much about their programs, the character of their players. What do you expect to learn about your team as they embark on this new schedule?
Yeah, great point. And not only that, we're learning a ton about ourselves as coaches. I think we're all learning a lot about ourselves through COVID. And as leaders, if we're not focused on ourselves first, we're not going to be able to really focus on those that we lead. So I've spent a ton of time focusing on myself and things that I can learn about myself so that I can help my players better. But we've learned a ton about resiliency and sacrifice, things that you need to be a Division I athlete to begin with, but taking up a whole nother notch when you talk about, especially in the fall, COVID testing 3 times a week, being isolated from friends and family even more than normal. So they've learned a lot about resiliency. They've learned a lot about sacrifice. So those are some things that'll continue to carry on through this spring. And when we're out of this crazy COVID season, I hope that those things remain instilled in their minds and their hearts.
Looking at a team last season, Coach, prior to that fall slate, but the fall before, squad misses the postseason, which is so uncharacteristic. That's new for you. That's new. So what do you have to do now to make the postseason this spring? What is the go-to goal for your team to be able to pull that off?
Well, yeah, I mean, last fall, not this COVID fall, but the fall before, yeah, we missed opportunities. And I think the great thing is we had a lot of kids return that were leaders in that group. And sometimes you need a little bit of a downfall there to sharpen you back up again. And we did a lot of focusing on what are the things that we didn't do very well, not just as players, but as a staff. And we've refocused. And I think we've been able to instill a lot of that into the young players. And it's given us a great opportunity. You mentioned some of the results that we had this past fall that we think were very good results for such a young team. And we're going to carry that into the spring. And at the end of the day, you got to win games, right? You don't get into championships based on just effort. That effort has to lead to winning games and scoring goals and keeping the ball out of the back of your own net. And those are things we're going to focus on a day-to-day basis. And our mentality, we've got to be fitter and tougher than the other teams.
And with adding so many freshmen, but also able to keep some of those more mature players, how do you anticipate the identity of this team to be different from a year ago?
Yeah, the identity is already different, in that, and we've learned that through the 9 games that we were allowed to play in the fall. And that doesn't mean better or worse. It just means different. And that's the thing with a college athletic team is that every year when you bring in a new cycle of kids, it changes no matter what. And it's up to us as a program to make it a positive change instead of a negative change. And, we're pretty locked into what, our vision and mission is as a team and as Christian athletes here at Baylor University. And it's bigger than just soccer and it's bigger than just us. So those are things that motivate us on the field to compete hard.
Coach, you talked about that loaded freshman class that you brought in. I'm reading down the roster here, and it's just freshman, sophomore. Like you would think it's a typo on most of these. You've got still a young team. This squad, back-to-back Big 12 championships, back-to-back Elite 8 appearances a few years back. How close are you to doing that again and taking home hardware?
I think we're really close. I honestly think that with the squad that we had this past year, had it been a normal year, I think we'd had a really good shot at making a run. I really do. And just because we had 9 games, how quickly we came along as a young group. Had we had the full 20, by the time we got to the conference season, had already played 9 or 10 games and hit the conference run, matured as a program and as a team, I think we would have done really, really, really well going into the postseason. And honestly, I hated when the fall ended for us because we were really starting to peak and come along as a group. So the test now for us is to make sure that over the holidays, we didn't enjoy the break too much and that they were inspired and focused on the things they needed to be inspired and focused on so that, when we returned this morning to start our training, that they were ready to go. And I can tell you, they looked really good this morning from start. So I think we're where we need to be. So I'm excited about that. And we'll see what this COVID season brings. The NCAA tournament is not 64, it's 48. And there's always changing things going on. But, I think we'll have a really good shot at getting ourselves in there.
Coach, just listening to you talk, it's very evident you have a genuine love for this program, for your players, for this place. What makes Baylor soccer so special to you?
Oh man, it's in my blood. I've been here 13 years now. My wife and I came here together, and we feel like we, not just us, but the group, the staff that we've had and the players that have come through here, we've really rebuilt this program into a non-existent really soccer program and into an NCAA contender. And a program it's a destination program for some of the best soccer players in the country. And in doing that, we're honoring Christ while we do it. And there's really no better place to do what we do the way that we do it than at Baylor University. And you can't get excited about that, then we've got to move on and do something else. But this is a special place. And the fact that we've been able to be here for 13 years and for Baylor to believe in us as a family means a lot to us too. And this Waco community has really put their arms around us. So it's easy to get excited about what we're doing here.
Coach, you're staring down the barrel of almost 90 wins in a career, most in program history, not to mention the Elite Eights, the Big 12 championships. The accolades go on and on. So what's next for you? What's the next milestone that you want to hit?
Man, you know what? I want to make sure these kids are prepared for life. Honestly, I've never really focused a ton on the championships. I love them. I love to win. Trust me, I hate losing more than anything. But at the end of the day, the thing that brings me the most pleasure are these girls that are leading great lives with great families and children and great careers. You know, those are the wins. Those are the real wins, and honoring Christ for the things that they do, and hopefully have taken something from this program and making the world a better place. And I hope while we're doing that, we're winning championships and winning games. But the first thing first is making sure that we're creating great people out of this program and putting them into a world where they can make a difference in a time where we need people to make a difference.
Wow. Coach Paul Jobson of the Baylor soccer program. Coach, let's go. Thanks for joining Up Tempo, man. That was awesome.
Can I join your team,
guys?
Coach?
Thanks for having me on.
That was
Appreciate it.
spectacular. Look, you can. This is not my show. It's not JD's show.
I guess not.
We've solidified that it's not Armstrong's show. This is your show. You can come on whenever you want.
All right, that's cool. Maybe I can come in studio. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Bring it on. We always have great food here too. We have some salsa. I brought Pringles today.
Yeah.
We'll fix you up.
There's some
I
Dr.
see,
Pepper.
I
from
see
1981.
Twizzlers, man.
I have Twizzlers.
Those are yours if you want to come in studio.
We are currently
They're waiting for you.
staging a union for our bosses to buy us more desk decor, and until they do, we're just going to put food on the desk until they start giving us decorations.
It's a very new union.
It's a new union.
But it is a union.
It happened about a half hour ago, but you were a part of it. You helped stage it.
I think you need a soccer ball. Let's see if we can't work on that.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Come on. We need the
Or a
towel.
scarf. You don't have a
I have
soccer
a
scarf either.
I have a scarf in my room.
My neck gets cold, very cold.
This guy gets cold. He's got cold neck syndrome.
Cold neck syndrome, yep.
Where's your soccer scarf on the studio, though?
That's a good point.
I don't think we have one.
I will bring it in.
I don't think we have
we
one.
need one.
I will move my Baylor decor from my home to here. But, Coach, we got the Bear games here, too. Although, hey, you know what? Come in studio. Bring us some more scarves.
Listen, you need a studio scarf. You shouldn't sacrifice your personal scarf for studio scarf.
Exactly. I agree.
The place gets cold in here, Coach. And, like, we don't.
I'm ready to play I'm ready to play for this
What's
program.
he doing?
Boom! Like on cue. The man just pulls his
That's what I get, like the feeling of every time I see that. I like a vuvuzela.
Wow.
I love that. I'm ready to
I'm
rock.
back in Spain again. Holy cow. Thanks for that little flashback right there. Coach, Bear games today. Baylor's second best bracket, rolling through some of the best football players of the last decade. Other football. I can see you perked up a little bit. Other football. Kendall Wright or Ahmad Dixon?
Oh my gosh, really?
Or we're in round two, so these are all good. They're all close.
God, seriously, I'm gonna go Kendall Wright.
Yeah,
That's good. I like
That's
that.
a good
I like
pick.
that.
James Lynch or Terrence Williams?
Terrence Williams.
Yeah. Come on with
Touchdowns.
it. And then if you could quarantine with one Baylor coach, who would it be and why?
Current or former?
Oh, you know what? I feel like the you asking that means that there's got to be a former in there that you probably nail down. I'll give you former. I feel like I know where we may be going here.
I'm going to quarantine with my wife.
There we
go. Former Baylor soccer coach. Second all-time wins leader in Baylor history.
Wait, who's first?
I'm going to quarantine with her. I don't know. I have no idea who first is.
We'll do some research and get back to you.
Paul Jobson of the Baylor soccer program. Coach Jobson, thanks so much for joining us on Up Tempo.
Guys, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Appreciate
my
you, Coach.
goodness. Do you think they have like a chant in their locker room too? Where
Dude, I hope so. If
Baylor
not, they
soccer
should.
is do or die. Take a soccer ball on my feet. You think they have one of those?
You can't take it in your hand, but I guess.
You can't take it in your hand.
Take it on my feet.
That's illegal. Paul Jobson of the Baylor soccer program joining us on Up Tempo. Man, he went and like dipped down and pulled out a scarf.
He had that.
Yeah, he had it
there was
ready.
no prep that we gave him. Said, "Hey, have your scarf
He
ready."
disappeared from frame, and I was like, uh-oh.
Like something's going on.
And then he's
also nailed the Bear games. In my opinion, nailed the Bear games.
He had to say his wife.
Had to say his wife.
Oh, yeah, he
had to say his wife.
And we couldn't make it
The
illegal.
2 picks were good. I was a great interview.
That was good. Although I didn't want to like throw it out there and challenge him, but James Lynch was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year.
He was all-time leading sack leader at Baylor.
Yeah.
So I see.
That said, sacks only go back to like 2001 at Baylor.
It's not that high a number, but still, it's his record.
You know they didn't start counting sacks in college football across the board until '84.
That's wild. I did not know that.
True or false? I should have saved that. I should have saved that for a true
I'm
or
going to go
false
ahead and say
game.
true.
I've got to stop
I'm gonna
asking
say true
questions
now.
like that.
Yeah,
Dead or Alive is coming up later in the show. We got a list of entertainers in the music industry.
Oh, okay.
Are they dead? Are they alive? I ask myself that question daily. We're going to find out today. I'm Drake Toll. That's JD Piquel. Paul Jobson of the Baylor soccer team just joined us. Armstrong Sims is running things back there. Speaking of Armstrong Sims, he did a little minute thing for us today.
Oh, no.
He did.
Armstrong, is this true?
This is true.
Let's find out. This is Up Tempo.
Across college athletics last night, the number 2 Baylor men's basketball team boasted a 77-69 win over 9th-ranked Kansas in the Farrell Center, thanks to Jared Butler's 30 points and 8 assists, shooting 7 for 9 from deep.
Another ball screen from Chamo Chachua. Another three for Butler.
With the win, the Bears improved to 9-1 against ranked teams over the last 2 seasons, and the game marked Baylor's first win against Kansas in the Farrell Center in 3 seasons. Elsewhere, number 23 UConn lost at home to unranked St. John's 74-70, and Florida State won at Louisville 78-65. In tennis, number 15 Baylor swept SMU twice yesterday to keep their record perfect on the season, and the 23rd-ranked women swept Rice 7-0 in Waco as they also remain unscathed. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With your Ram truck from Allen Samuels, you may not have to plow through snow and mud or pull heavy loads, but you could. During the Big Finish year-end event, you get a Ram deal like no other. Employee pricing for all, 0% for 84 and no payments for 90 days. Ram 1500 Lone Star for Christmas. No other truck comes close. And ask about Big Finish pricing on Ram Heavy Duty and Ram ProMaster for your business. Happy holidays from Allen Samuels.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Waco Custom Marketplace is your home for holiday favorites for parties and the time with family. Various specials available in-store and online. A variety of steak gift boxes with 4 ribeyes for $70, 4 bacon wrap fillets for $55, or 4 New York strips for $50, and all come with steak butter. Fall snack box for watching a game or wrapping presents or hosting people at your house, including summer sausage, split horn, and jalapeno cheese and salted crackers for only $35. 2 pieces of lobster tails with herb butter and 2 bacon wrap fillets for $60. Order online or call in advance to ensure availability, or drop by Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive. Waco Custom Marketplace has a full-service butcher shop for customized orders or cuts of your favorite steaks or beef tenderloin or specially ordered prime rib roast. Plus, what you want with pork, poultry, seafood, and more. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122. For your company's mass COVID testing, log on to impacthealthlabs.com.
Want the truth? You can't handle the truth.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll and J.D. Pickell for the Blonde Boys Power Hour.
There it is.
The Blonde Boys Power Hour, bringing it back to the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. I'm Bowl Cut. That's JD Pickell. Armstrong Sims is running the production. We got Dead or Alive today.
Thomas Shelby. So you look like Peaky Blinders. You ever see Peaky Blinders?
I haven't. I feel like you ever seen Dumb and Dumber with Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
We share a birthday. Same age.
True story?
True story.
No way.
Really?
Okay.
True story.
Okay.
Dead or Alive, Jim Carrey.
Definitely alive.
Oh, nice job, you guys. Maybe the only one you get today.
So hot start.
We got Coach Casey Maxwell joining us on the Baylor Equestrian team at 12:05. But before that, we're going to play Dead or Alive. Before we play Dead or Alive, we're going to do my favorite thing to do on this show. Yeah, is it your favorite thing to do?
It's top 5.
It's like a top five moment, like
for sure,
eclipsing all of the shows that we've done. Armstrong, do you have the cool little music that plays in the background of Dead or Alive?
Is that Dead or Alive?
Yeah, I actually just want to play that music.
That's 2 minute
in the
drill.
background of every game.
Okay, I have that. I will have it.
Beautiful.
In like about a minute.
You know what I'll give you?
You know what we need?
You know what we can do
to kill
during
the
that
time?
minute? Oh, baby! Bring it on!
1, 2, 3. USA, USA. Oh, mama, don't you cry. Oh, mama, don't you cry. USA hockey
It never gets old. It never does get old.
Hockey is do or die. Take a hockey stick in my hand.
Drake's freaking out behind the scenes.
Best line.
Where did we
Best
find
line.
this?
I have no idea where we found this.
I'd be a star.
I like this part.
Be a star. USA hockey will
Go very far.
Best line. So terrible.
That.
Take the Gatorade in your glass.
I wonder if this is like a tradition or if this like they just made this the other night. Like before they won the whole thing, they're like, hey, listen, we're gonna do a call and response, and it's gonna be awesome.
Good. The best part is they made that a while back, and they like redo it every year.
That's awesome.
Woo! Here we go. Armstrong, you ready to clip this? It's gonna be good today. We are playing Dead or Alive. Come on, you guys. We're gonna name 9 singers, 9 artists,
The dance.
and ask you, are they dead or are they alive? And Armstrong and JD are gonna try to guess. Let's see who can win today's version of Dead or Alive. You shouldn't need a pin for this, Armstrong. You've played this before.
I know. I'll just type it out.
All right, number 1, Frankie Valli of the Four Seasons. Sherry.
Are we answering
That one.
now?
No, just write it down, right?
No.
Okay.
Is he dead or alive, Armstrong?
Dead.
I would say dead as well.
Frankie Valli's alive!
No way.
83 years old. Point for none of you. Marvin Gaye. Let's get it on.
Oh, dead.
Dead.
Marvin Gaye is dead.
Thank
He
you.
would have been 81 years old today, but he is not on the earth.
Yeah.
Oh, how about a little David Allan Coe action? I was drunk the day my mom got out of prison.
I'm gonna say
I'll say
he's
alive.
Yeah, alive. I was
We've
gonna say the
got
same thing.
David Allan
We
Coe.
keep saying the same thing.
81 years old. He's alive.
There we go.
Yeah, thank you.
How about Bill Gaither of the Gaithers? Come on, you know the Gaithers.
Yeah.
I'll Fly Away. Victory in Jesus.
I say dead.
You say he's dead? Bill Gaithers. I'll say alive. Just disagree.
Bill Gaither's alive.
No. There we
you
go.
killed off.
There we
You
go.
just killed off a Southern Baptist legend.
I'm sorry.
You
sorry.
are a Baylor grad. You can't do that,
I'm
man.
sorry.
Gene Autry, legendary country music and
Yeah.
Christmas singer.
I'm gonna say dead.
Alive.
We've got Gene Autry, dead.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's been dead for a while.
I'm not
He would have
great at-
been 91 today. Glenn Campbell. Come on, Glenn Campbell. He sings Mull of Kintyre. So good. He also sings that other song, Southern Nights. Glenn Campbell.
I know. Oh, of course I know
Alive.
who Glenn Campbell was. I know he came out with an album recently, but so I think he's alive.
Let's say alive.
Post-mortem. He's dead. Would have been 81 today. Barry Gibb from the Barry Gibb Talk Show.
Oh, he is dead. Yeah, right.
Barry Gibb? Yeah, oh, no, I am right. Glenn Campbell's dead. Thank you for validating the fact that I Wikipedia'd it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Barry Gibb of the Bee Gees. Dead or
Ooh, I'm
alive?
gonna say dead.
Dead.
Barry Gibbs, 74 years old, alive.
Oh my God.
You guys are really, really bad at this game.
What are you talking about? I've missed 3. Stop.
Out of what?
Stop.
5? These people are living and breathing, and it's just such a disrespectful thing.
This is anarchy.
Our apologies to the Gibb family, but congratulations because Barry's alive. 2 more left to go.
I'm
going to hit you.
3.
I'm going to hit you with a pretty good one right here.
Hit me with it.
Because he's saying, what's new, Pussycat? And he also saying, it's not unusual. Tom Jones,
Ooh,
dead or alive?
Dead.
Tom Jones is alive. 80. It's not unusual. Nobody?
There you go.
Wow.
No, I know that song, but I just thought he was dead.
I know. It's super disappointing. It's not disappointing that he's alive. It's disappointing that you guys just don't know that Tom Jones is alive.
Yeah.
It's disappointing to me, too. I wish I knew it was alive.
Last one right here. Favorite one. This is for both of us because we love this guy. We love his work.
Croce?
No. Close, though.
Croce's dead.
Close. Croce is dead.
Love Croce.
Is this guy dead? The wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, Gordon Lightfoot.
Oh, man. I'm going to say dead.
Legendary Gordon Lightfoot. Armstrong?
We literally talked about this before the show.
And I asked you, is he dead or alive? And you're like, I don't know. And I said, I don't know either. And now here we are where you have to answer it.
Okay.
I
alive,
love him too,
alive.
so
He's alive.
I hope I'm right.
He's alive.
I don't know if he's dead, but
we got a dead right here.
He's got to be alive.
We got an alive right there. Gordon Lightfoot, if you're listening, because you could be, you're alive.
Yes. Dang.
Touch yourself, Gordon Lightfoot.
Dang.
You're still living and breathing.
Probably, odds are he is listening, actually.
Odds are Gordon Lightfoot watches Up Tempo?
Yeah.
What's he watching it on?
His Roku.
What?
On
Mom,
YouTube. Streaming it
Gordon
on
Lightfoot's
YouTube.
watching us
There
on
we
Roku.
go. G-Light.
Come on, baby. All right. How about this? It's a Sick'em Pick'em today. Keep the music rolling, Armstrong.
It's rolling.
It's so good.
This is...
Sick'em Pick'em.
You like it way too
it's
much.
a Super Tuesday in men's college basketball. If you're a sports bettor out there, we're going to give you a little bit of help. Please take it with a grain of salt, though. You don't have to take our advice.
Fade or follow.
You don't have to follow. Don't follow.
Please don't follow.
Fade or follow.
Purdue.
We're 2-0 on the show, though, and I say we very generously.
Number 15 Ohio State is at home against Purdue at 5:30.
I say they cover.
I didn't give you a spread.
Wait, give me the.
I just went straight up.
Give me the numbers again.
There are no numbers. It's just number
Ohio State. Wait. Whoa.
Number 15 Ohio State is at home
then
against
why
Purdue.
is that helping bettors?
Ohio State.
That's the point. We're not helping
I'll give you
bettors.
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
I'll pick Ohio State as well.
Kansas State at Oklahoma.
I got Oklahoma.
I was going to say Oklahoma as well.
I like Oklahoma. Kansas State's bad.
Yeah, Kansas
Number
State's very
6
bad.
Tennessee. Number 6 Tennessee.
And Jamie Dixon's out, right?
Yeah. At Florida. Jamie Dixon also coaches at
Florida. He coaches
TCU.
My brain just.
Number 6 Tennessee at Florida.
I'll take the Vols.
Thank you,
I'll
Drake.
take the Vols.
I like
Tennessee
that.
at Florida.
Yep.
Florida.
Unranked
No,
Maryland.
Tennessee's.
Yeah, Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee.
Unranked Maryland at number 7 Michigan.
Michigan. Michigan's rolling.
Yeah, Michigan is.
Michigan's on
rolling.
the
Although
downtrend. They
lost.
just got blown out by Minnesota. I'm going Maryland on the road.
Sorry. I didn't know. I didn't know you needed the music.
South Carolina at number 19
we gotta
Missouri.
work on these moves, my guy. I love you to death. We gotta get you.
You can't say I love you and then be like, hey, I love you, but also you suck at dancing.
Yeah, you can.
I didn't say that.
You can say that.
Your mom loves you and she still spanks you.
Go to the dog park, walk your dog. Go to the dog park and walk your dog.
What was the question?
South Carolina at number 19 Missouri.
Missouri.
Yeah. There's some other good ones here, but we're running out of time.
We're picking all favorites, aren't we?
Penn State at number 22 Illinois.
I'll take Illinois.
I'll take Penn State.
Oh, how about Seton Hall at number 3 Villanova?
Nova.
Let's go Nova.
It's an upset at Villanova tonight. Seton Hall on top the Pirates.
That's what you're taking.
Number 18 Alabama at LSU.
I'll take LSU.
I like Alabama.
Oh, I like LSU. I like LSU. Duke at Pittsburgh, the last one of the Sick'em Pick'em.
I like Pittsburgh.
Duke's kind of trash this
Jeff
year.
Capel.
Yeah, Duke's just not good this year.
Is the coach of Pittsburgh, correct? Capel?
No.
He was former Duke player Capel, and he's going to beat his old coach.
Oh, you got Pittsburgh tonight?
I got Pittsburgh. I believe.
I'll take Duke because they're Duke.
They're not Duke this year. They're unranked.
I'll take Duke.
Wow. I got to get you back in the film room for college basketball. Last one. I said that was the last one. We got a wild card here. Ole Miss at
we
Mississippi
picked nearly
State.
the same on all of them.
Yeah, no, you need to get back in the film room.
What are you saying? I'm getting a lot of animosity from Armstrong. I don't understand why.
No, you need to work on it.
Ole Miss at Mississippi State?
Ole Miss. This is just absolutely random.
Ole Miss at Mississippi State. At Mississippi State, let's go with the Bulldogs.
We're going Bulldogs tonight. Ole Miss is kind of booty as well. I'm Drake Toll.
Get in the film room,
Good
Armstrong.
haircut. Armstrong Sims is our producer. You're watching Up Tempo on your Tuesday. Give me a little Armstrong's Minute, and Casey Maxwell joins the show up next.
Armstrong.
Across college athletics last night, the number 2 Baylor men's basketball team boasted a 77-69 win over 9th-ranked Kansas in the Farrell Center, thanks to Jared Butler's 30 points and 8 assists, shooting 7 for 9 from deep.
Another ball screen from Tchamwa Tchatchoua. Another three for Butler.
With the win, the Bears improved to 9-1 against ranked teams over the last 2 seasons, and the game marked Baylor's first win against Kansas in the Farrell Center in 3 seasons. Elsewhere, number 23 UConn lost at home to unranked St. John's 74-70, and Florida State won at Louisville 78-65. In tennis, number 15 Baylor swept SMU twice yesterday to keep their record perfect on the season, and the 23rd ranked women swept Rice 7-0 in Waco as they also remain unscathed. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With your Ram truck from Allen Samuels, you may not have to plow through snow and mud or pull heavy loads, but you could. During the Big Finish year-end event, you get a Ram deal like no other. Employee pricing for all, 0% for 84 and no payments for 90 days. Ram 1500 Lone Star for Christmas. No other truck comes close. And ask about Big Finish pricing on Ram Heavy Duty and Ram ProMaster for your business. Happy holidays from Allen Samuels.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. Even offering financing if that's needed, everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Waco Custom Marketplace is your home for holiday favorites for parties and the time with family. Various specials available in-store and online. A variety of steak gift boxes with 4 ribeyes for $70, 4 bacon wrapped fillets for $55, or 4 New York strips for $50, and all come with steak butter. Fall snack box for watching a game or wrapping presents or hosting people at your house, including summer sausage, split horn, and jalapeno cheese and salted crackers for only $35. 2 pieces of lobster tails with herb butter and 2 bacon wrap fillets for $60. Order online or call in advance to ensure availability, or drop by Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive. Waco Custom Marketplace has a full-service butcher shop for customized orders or cuts of your favorite steaks or beef tenderloin or specially ordered prime rib roast. Plus, what you want with pork, poultry, seafood, and more. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
All right, welcome back into Up Tempo for your Tuesday, a Baylor take on your lunch break. I am Drake Toll in the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Armstrong Sims is running the production. We are joined now by Coach Casey Maxwell of the Baylor Equestrian Team. Coach, thanks so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, Coach, here's where we'll start. You guys just inked a new class, 9 new athletes coming into your program. How big is that for you, and is this one of the more exciting classes that you can remember?
Yeah, it's definitely a really strong class. It's one of our smaller classes, but definitely very deep in terms of their talent. They're all really excited to be here at Baylor. Everybody coming off their COVID-19 year, they're just ready to get back in action. And so we're really excited to see what they're going to bring to our program.
You know, Coach, we got a lot of calls in the first week of starting the show, especially that were, hey, we know you guys are going to plug all the sports. Will we get any equestrian action? So we've definitely been trying to plug in as much as we can with equestrian and have a lot of people out there that watch or listen to the show that are excited about what you and your program do. So my question, kind of based around your recruiting class, is what goes into recruiting for equestrian? For those who aren't as familiar with the sport, really, how does that tie in for you?
Sure. So our sport is different in the sense that all of these athletes are competing as individuals growing up prior to coming into college. And so we're looking at them out there competing in the industry. Most of them are competing at the national level all over the country on their own horses that they've purchased or leased. And so different from when they come to college, they're put into a team setting and they're put onto unfamiliar horses that they don't have time to prepare on. And so as we're out on the road, we're looking at them showing in high pressure settings. Have they had the opportunity to ride a variety of horses versus an athlete who maybe has gone through her entire career prior to coming to college and only ridden one horse? She's not going to be really prepared to come into our program per se. So we're trying to look at all of those kind of things, their versatility and their adaptability to different horses, and then their opportunities that they've had competing at a high level, at a high pressure level. All those things are going to get them ready for college.
And on that, with competition for not just your recruits, but your team as a whole, you know, as I kind of acquainted myself with equestrian for the first time last season and got to know your program and what goes into the sport as a whole, how much from a judging standpoint, when you guys are being scored, how much of that is subjective? And on the back end of that, how much of it is objective and you can't defer it?
It's definitely 100% subjective, but within parameters. I mean, I will say, it's not objective in the sense that we're not running against a clock or something that's, just really will tell you whether or not they made the score or didn't make the score. But those judges go through very strenuous national level training in order for them to hold their cards and be qualified to judge at this level or, really at any level. They are trained to kind of see things a certain way. There's definitely a style for our sport in all 4 events. And so, there is some of their subjectivity into it, what they personally like, but that is not at the forefront of them making their decisions on how a rider earns a score. They are being trained into what is industry standard and what makes sense for our sport.
So tell me, and I've seen a couple of different equestrian meets where the crowd can get rowdy, and it's loud in there. You could have 10 people, and when they scream, you can hear it. Is there ever any jaunting at the refs or the judges, I should say?
No, there's not. It is very polite in that sense. And I will say what you just mentioned, it does get rowdy. This is different from the real world in terms of showing horses and stuff. In the real world, you can hear a pin drop. It's completely silent. The cheering is very minimal at most of the events. Sometimes it's a little more at the Western events. But when you come to college, you really bring that college atmosphere into it. And so that's different for all of these athletes and for all of these horses. That's something, and our judges, like you just mentioned, that's something that takes becoming accustomed to. But I will say we're we are very polite to our officials, and everyone is very respectful there. You're not going to gain any points or avoid a penalty per se, by throwing jabs at the officials. And so really it's all about just hyping up the riders, kind of creating that home field atmosphere, and intimidating the visiting team.
Coach, when you look at your program, your sport as a whole, when people ask you, hey, what are the ins and outs? What goes into equestrian, your brief synopsis, what are some of the first things you tell people who may not be familiar with the sport?
I think there's a lot that's unrecognized, that's behind the scenes that, that people don't understand about our sport. I mean, we're dealing with live equipment, and that comes with 24/7 care, 365 days a year. And so, our athletes per se, they don't get to show up to practice and ride and practice just for their 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day per se. There is time on the front end and on the back end of that comes into taking care of their horse, preparing their horse, for practice, and then taking care of them for them on the back end as well. And there's also a whole staff that's behind the scenes in our program that is taking care of those horses on a daily basis, feeding them and maintaining them. And I think that's, what's unfamiliar with our sport, and that's very different compared to other sports.
For you, too, you kind of talked about, and I know I'm jumping around a bit going back to this, but you talked about the home court, home field advantage, the home arena advantage. If that's not a thing, can we make it a thing?
Yeah, it is a thing.
A home arena advantage. When you look at the Big 12 championship meet that you get to host this year in Waco, not only that, but the national championship, which we don't, Baylor doesn't get to host on campus, but you get to host in Waco. Does that give your team an extra boost?
Absolutely. There's a lot of excitement with having it in your home arena. You want to defend, you want to be proud of that. Gives us the ability to have our entire team here. Whereas if we go to travel somewhere for the Big 12 championship, or even if we had to travel further for the national championship, we wouldn't be able to have all of our athletes there. And so for us, it's, allows us to have that sense of camaraderie, get local support. We've got a lot of parents who want to come to those events and stuff. And so we definitely look at that in our favor. And we're really grateful to be able to have the Big 12 championship back here in Waco this year, since we missed the opportunity to host it in 2020.
Speaking of championships, reading here, you won a national championship, not just one time, but 4 times as a student athlete at Texas A&M, the NCEA Western National Championship in 2002 through 2005. What do you remember about those titles, and do you use those as you coach now?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You don't remember your part in that, I don't think, as an athlete. You remember what the team did, and you remember how the season went. And I think that's what we try to get our athletes to understand, is that they're not going to remember 5 or 10 years from now what their personal score maybe was that day, and things like that. They're just going to remember that the team pulled together and it was a full team effort. And that's what's so different for our sport compared to what they're used to prior to coming to college. And that's what makes it really special. Definitely very proud to have all of those rings. But, what I remember the most about it is that it wasn't just me that got us there. It was everyone on our team throughout the entire season. And we pulled together at the right time to be able to pull off national championships.
For you, and we're going to stay right there with championships, a breakthrough year in 2018-19, just your second season at Baylor, 9-5 record in a Big 12 championship. How close is your squad, if not already there, to getting back to Big 12 championship caliber?
I think we're better than we were that year. Honestly, I think we have more depth in our talent. I think we're really hungry coming off of this COVID-19 delay in our season and stuff. And so I think, that year in 2018, 2019, our team just had a lot of fight in them. We weren't as deep in our talent pool as we are now, but we never gave up. We had great attitudes. We stayed positive, and that came out in the win for us that year. And so definitely excited. I think if this team can apply that same kind of attitude and stay positive and have the ability to bounce back, if we suffer a loss this season and stuff, I think this team has the ability to go very, very far.
Then looking forward to your 2021 schedule, number 9 in the country. When you got the news, hey, coach, they placed you at 9. Was that fuel to your fire or the team's fire?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's so hard because that's how we finished the regular season last year. And you didn't get to see, everything changes in the postseason. Wherever you're ranked, I mean, everything's up for grabs when you go to the Big 12 championship and to the national championship. And so for us, we didn't get to finish, but nobody else did either. And so I think there's a lot left out there for us to prove. I think we had an incredibly hard spring 2020 season where we were really trying hard to prepare our team for the postseason that got cut short. But I think building off of that for our returners and now adding in this new class and this depth pool, I'm super excited to see, what this year brings. And we try not to look at the rankings. I mean, it's great when you're high, but, we try not to let it bother us when we're low either. That can change every single week. And so we just got to take it 1 week at a time and just keep proving ourselves.
When you look at last year's slate and what your team did, up and down the schedule from last season, did you feel like your team by the end of the year was clicking or they were putting things together going into the postseason? And then what was that like when the bottom fell out on the year?
Absolutely. We intentionally created a very hard back-to-back week schedule in the spring semester, really untraditional for us. In a normal year, we would look at taking some more breaks in between, just kind of let them recoup a little bit, but we really wanted to put the pressure on our athletes, kind of force them to be mentally tough, have to bounce back, and just get better every single week. And they were really rising to that occasion as we went through our schedule through February and into early March. And exactly what you just said, it was like the floor dropped out from underneath of us. We definitely hit the end of that spring segment and we needed a break. We went off on spring break and, like everyone else, we just didn't get to come back. And so we'll never know, what that postseason would have brought. But from our coach's standpoint, I think we were definitely going to be peaking at the right point in the season. I think our team was mentally in a very good place and definitely were prepared for that postseason play.
When you look at last year's schedule, number 4, Fresno State, you take a win at home, 11-8. You lose to number 8, A&M, 10-8. A win against South Dakota State, and you lose to number 2, Oklahoma State, 10-8. Tight matchups in tight losses against nationally renowned programs. Did you feel like going into the postseason, your team was going to make a splash as they were gaining momentum?
We did. Everything changes when you kind of play it on neutral ground. When you get to the national championship, I think, everyone, that pride that you have playing at home, I mean, that neutralizes for everyone. And so you get the real ability to really kind of prove your talent. And so, us being so close to Texas A&M at their place, definitely gave us some hope and kept that fire lit. And Oklahoma State stayed in 1 or 2 all year long, and being able to stay close to them, that was definitely a tough loss for us to swallow, but we know that they're a beatable team too. And so we start with A&M this year. We'll play Oklahoma State twice again. And so we're definitely looking forward to proving ourselves this upcoming season.
With this season's slate and what you've got put together, just looking here at Auburn and Oklahoma State, perennial powerhouses in the sport of equestrian, what do you do in your program to try to get to that point where Baylor is considered, hey, year in, year out, top 3, we know that Baylor's a force to be reckoned with?
Yeah, I mean, they have to prove themselves statistically. And what we talked about early on was, it is subjective. It definitely comes down to the judges that day. We're riding live equipment, and are they going to behave that day and help us out? But, I think for our team, all we can do is prepare them the best we can, for every competition. We try to mentally prepare them to take it 1 meet at a time. Don't look ahead at wanting to win the Big 12 championship when right now we're focusing on, playing against Texas A&M in 10 days. And so, take it 1 week at a time. Keep preparing them as best as we possibly can, keep their mindset in the right place. All 4 events have to come through on the right day. It's definitely got to be a team effort. And so while we may be really strong in one event and they continue to prove themselves week after week, it doesn't matter if the rest of the events aren't coming through. And so, we've got to identify our weaknesses and definitely make those stronger and capitalize on the things that we're really good at.
With this upcoming season too, and you say capitalize, matchup to matchup, the schedule looks a little bit thinner. What do you make of your schedule that's been put together, and where are your opportunities to capitalize this year?
I think it's incredibly tough. There is not a easier opponent per se on our schedule. I mean, everyone is incredibly strong. Us getting to play Fresno State on a neutral location is going to be very tough versus having the opportunity to play a home and away with them like we would in a traditional year. COVID's changed that this year for all of us. So, it's kind of like last spring where we're just going to challenge the team week after week, and we're not going to be able to let up. But we're in the same situation as everyone else in the country too. And so, in terms of equestrian, almost all of us moved to a spring only season. We're all going to be week after week. So, it's not like we got the short end of the stick here. For us, it's kind of a survival factor, I think, as we go through the spring semester. It's really who's going to do it better at this point. And so all fall, we kind of focused on mentally preparing ourselves for that and working on our skill set so that we can really attack this spring schedule.
crazy to believe that we're past halfway through January now. Your first meet is in 11 days. As your team has now come back, they're hitting the practice gamut every single day. Do you feel like your squad's ready?
We do. I think, they worked incredibly hard in the fall semester, but it's hard when you don't have that date of competition looming right in front of you. It's kind of hard to keep that motivation. We put scrimmages in there, as often as we could, brought in judges, just tried to kind of create that real competition atmosphere for them as much as we could to prepare them. But when you come back right now in January and our team's been back at practice for a little over a week now, you see the change in them. You see the excitement, the pressures in front of them now. They actually have that January 30 date that's, within reach. And so you definitely see the change in how they're preparing and what's going through their minds in a very positive way. I mean, they're extremely excited. The whole team's finally back now, and now it's game time.
Wow, I love it. Coach, thanks so much for coming on Up Tempo today, looking up and down the schedule. A home meet against TCU, home meet against Oklahoma State, and then hosting the Big 12 Championship, the National Championship. A lot of opportunities for folks to come out, watch this team compete, and I know there's a lot of excitement. Like you said, this team may be even better than the Big 12 Championship squad that you had.
Absolutely.
All right, last question for me here, though. We've got Bear games that we play every day on this show, and this one's one of the tougher ones we've had. We've had some good answers on this today, though. If you could quarantine with one Baylor coach, who would it be and why?
Kim Mulkey. I just feel like the conversation would be very interesting the entire time.
Here's the deal, too. I bet Kim Mulkey is great at card games. I bet, push comes to shove, I feel like she'd be so competitive, but, the fun competitive, as in, you beat her and go fish, and it's yeah, I beat Kim Mulkey and go fish. You wear that for the rest of your life.
It would definitely be made for a very interesting quarantine period.
Wow. I can't imagine the things you could ask, the illustrious career that she's had. Coach Casey Maxwell, the Baylor Equestrian team, thanks so much again for joining Up Tempo today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And good luck this season. Again, that's Coach Casey Maxwell, BU Equestrian. They play at home. They compete at home against TCU on Saturday, February 6th. Sure, there'll be, I'm not sure if ticket information's been released on that, but, limited capacity everywhere you go. That said, I guarantee you they'll do everything they can to allow fans in there for that home meet on the 6th. They come back, play Oklahoma State, perennial powerhouse, at home on February 20th. And then, even better, you can go watch them in the Big 12 Championship meet. That is at the Willis Family Equestrian Center in Waco. They are hosting it at Baylor. And betterer, bestest, NCEA National Championships. That will be April 15th through the 17th, also in Waco at the Extraco Event Center. So you can go watch them at an event center, Armstrong. The event center has a lot of seats, meaning a lot more opportunity for people to go and be able to see this team compete. Oh, he's nodding.
Correct. Well, actually, I can't confirm that.
Oh, thank you for validating and then unvalidating my point.
You're welcome.
That, again, Coach Casey Maxwell joining us today. Hey, we're talking about a lot of things across the board in not just college athletics, but mostly Baylor athletics today. After the men's basketball team knocked off Kansas last night by 8 points, Baylor improves to 13-0. 8-point wins in every game they played this season. They are number 2 in the Ken Palm rankings, number 1 in the net rankings. Baylor is an absolute force to be reckoned with. Jared Butler, not just 30 points, 7 for 9 from deep, 8 assists last night. An unbelievable game for Butler and the Bears as they beat Kansas 77-69. We're talking about that more coming up. Speaking of, Morgan Uber joins the show. Morgan, a member of the Big 12 unit, a part of the Big 12 Conference. She's going to come on and talk the Baylor-Kansas matchup and the scope of Big 12 basketball this season. Scott Drew has talked about it all year long. The Big 12, 6 out of the last 7 years, the best conference in college basketball. On the back end of that, we've got Scott Drew joining us later in the show via yesterday's press conference. We have his bites from last night breaking down the Kansas and Baylor men's basketball game. We also have Jared Butler and Mark Vidal. You're not going to want to miss Mark Vidal because he calls out Fran Fraschilla because Fran tweeted that just Mark Vidal's not the same Mark Vidal or something. Like Fran Fraschilla was and Mark Vidal was like, you know what, Fran? I am. And Mark Vidal goes off last night.
Absolutely off.
I said he goes off. He scored 4 points.
No, if you watch the game, though, he went.
Exactly.
He destroyed.
On national television, the slam, the chase down block, the guy had, I think it was like 10 boards last night. Mark Vidal proved to Fran Fraschilla and the rest of the country that he didn't go anywhere. Because everybody's like, oh, Mark Vidal's back. I don't really think he ever left. He's glue guy. He wore the glue guy jacket last night. Also have Jared Butler, his thoughts after yesterday's ball game. He joins again via yesterday's press conference. And even better, possibly the best part, Bill Self and what he said in the postgame interview yesterday about Baylor and Gonzaga. He was asked the question, when you compare Baylor and Gonzaga, what do you see? And I'll tell you what, I don't know if you saw this, Armstrong, but Bill Self had a lot of very complimentary things to say about Baylor, this basketball program, and the team that Scott Drew has this year, even going as far to say that Kansas is nowhere near as good as Baylor is right now in the scope of things, and that KU's got to do a lot of improving. But, hey, and I'll say this, too. Let me ask you this. It's more of a personal question as we shift gears. When Kansas gets in the postseason, do you root for them?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should.
I do root for them, not even because I mean because they're a Big 12 team.
Bingo.
And also, I like Kansas. Like, genuinely, I think Kansas is a good place.
Less bingo. What?
I think Kansas University is a good place. I genuinely believe that.
The basketball program's riddled with scandal year in and year out.
I recently.
Yeah.
Recently.
So now they're a good place? Is that
no,
what you're saying?
I think historically they're a good place. They're good for basketball.
James Naismith?
Yeah.
He did invent basketball.
I mean, one of my favorite coaches ever, Roy Williams, coached there for a lot. I don't know how many years, but a lot.
Yeah, now he's at North Carolina.
Now he's at UNC, baby.
Yeah. And that's why you're a UNC fan?
No. I'm a Roy Williams fan probably because I am a UNC fan.
Nice. Yeah,
But I think Kansas is a respectable program.
I agree.
I think it's a shame that if they're bad, and it's a shame that they have so much scandal.
I like it better now after what Bill Self said last night about Baylor. And we will have that coming up against Scott Drew, Jared Butler, Mark Vidal, Bill Self, sound bites from last night, the best of the press conferences. But before that, Morgan Uber from the Big 12 Conference joins us at 12:30. This, Armstrong's Minute, is Up Tempo.
Across college athletics last night, the number 2 Baylor men's basketball team boasted a 77-69 win over 9th-ranked Kansas in the Farrell Center, thanks to Jared Butler's 30 points and 8 assists, shooting 7 for 9 from deep.
Another ball screen from Chamo Chachua. Another three for Butler.
With the win, the Bears improved to 9-1 against ranked teams over the last 2 seasons, and the game marked Baylor's first win against Kansas in the Farrell Center in 3 seasons. Elsewhere, number 23 UConn lost at home to unranked St. John's 74-70, and Florida State won at Louisville 78-65. In tennis, number 15 Baylor swept SMU twice yesterday to keep their record perfect on the season, and the 23rd ranked women swept Rice 7-0 in Waco as they also remain unscathed. I'm Armstrong Simpson. That's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools tools exposed? Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
All right, welcome back into Up Tempo, the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Tuesday, everybody. And what is there not to be happy about? Men's tennis sweeps yesterday, women's tennis sweeps yesterday, and there just so happened to be a little basketball game in the Farrell Center where Baylor won 77-69 against Kansas in possibly the worst beat in college basketball history. If you had the negative 8.5 like Armstrong did, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But right now we're joined by Morgan Uber. Morgan's coming in from the Big 12 Conference. Morgan, thanks so much for joining us today.
Drake, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. Ready to talk some hoops with you.
Oh, let's go. Morgan Uber, digital correspondent with the Big 12. Morgan, when you look at a game like last night, before you even break down Baylor, Kansas, the gameplay, just what does it mean for a top 10 matchup in this conference to be to go down on a Monday night where the whole country's watching?
Gosh, Drake, it seems like we've had so many great matchups on any given night with 5 teams right now in the top 14. But last night was special. Baylor, Kansas, thinking back to, what could have been last year with both of those teams potentially having the opportunity for a Final Four. And in fact, I was at the last game when Baylor hosted Kansas last year, and the way that went down for the Bears, the Jayhawks, going out on top. So it was a bit of a revenge game for the Bears, and they were able to get it done. But it's always special when you have 2 teams of that caliber playing on national TV. It was definitely a game that I had circled on my calendar for quite a while.
When you look at Morgan, I see here that you come from the Patriot League. Mm-hmm. Now that you've moved into the Big 12 and are seeing the Big 12 caliber of college basketball, college football, and what this conference is about, is it just different in the Big 12 when it comes to basketball?
I mean, certainly. Don't get me wrong. The Patriot League was a blast. There were great stories to tell in that league and some outstanding players. Some players like CJ McCollum and Mike Muscala have come from the Patriot League and made their way into the NBA and made a name for themselves. But yeah, of course. I mean, the Big 12 is a different caliber of basketball. It's, 6 out of the last 7 years. Scott Drew has said it many times that it has been the number 1 conference in college basketball. And, I think we're seeing it again this year. Some people argue that the Big 10 is better, but in my book, it's definitely the Big 12 with 5 teams right now in the top 14, and arguably Oklahoma State, I think they got snubbed a little bit in the top 25 this week. I think we'll see them up there very soon. So it is a different kind of basketball, but definitely I think for me, I love telling the stories of the student athletes. So really those don't change wherever you go. There's always great stories in the league.
Morgan, being the host of Inside the Big 12 on ESPN Plus and doing a lot with the conference inside and out, having such a strong basketball slate and so many good teams, does that make your job that much easier? Is there just content galore right now?
I mean, yeah, you could say that, but it's also, while my job, it may be easier in that regard, it's difficult too, keeping up with everything. I mean, I don't just cover basketball. I cover, tennis, swimming and diving, gymnastics, wrestling. So we've got a lot going on right now. But yeah, the content, I will say it always is, flowing. Although, I said we weren't going to get into the cancellations here, but I do think there's been some disappointments with games getting canceled and postponed. And I've had previews ready and recaps ready to go, especially the previews. Those have been difficult because, we'll find out about a game cancellation just 12 hours before a game. So that's made it difficult this season in a year where COVID-19, we're all, facing our own battles and challenges. And I know, I can't imagine the teams themselves, the coaches and players, what they go through day to day when, they hear about those things. But yeah, it's been fun and, just trying to be creative in a time where I don't have the access like I normally do to be able to go on the road and cover the teams in person and do in-person interviews. So, Zoom has become, my best friend and I used it a lot actually before I even got to the Big 12. So it's been a pretty easy adjustment for me in that regard, just being able to roll with Zoom interviews and talk to a lot of our players.
I tell you what, we went dormant for 2 weeks with the women's basketball program, and I felt like from a content standpoint here, it's just, I want to talk about women's basketball. And there was just, it goes dead, but then you have the resurgence of the women's team coming back to play, the men's team getting Kansas in a big matchup last night, and that's what I'll go back to. When you look at the 77-69 score, Baylor on top of Kansas, were you surprised at all that Baylor ended up winning this game by what was virtually double digits until a last-second shot went in from deep?
Yeah, no, I would say it was pretty much what I expected, although to be honest, I expected Kansas to play them a little bit closer. I think, first taking a look at the Kansas side of things, their forward, David McCormick, I think in the past 3 games, up until last night, he was really going pretty well and getting really consistent. In the loss to Oklahoma State, he had a season high 24 points, playing some of his best basketball, but I think the Bears completely squashed that. So I think if McCormick had had a better game, I think it would have been a lot closer, but it was no surprise that Baylor's defense, which, they're elite. I think they're on a whole different level than anyone else in this conference. That truly is what set them apart. And that's why I really wasn't surprised with the Bears ultimately coming out on top.
From a Big 12 conference standpoint and thinking from the perspective of other teams, when you hear the 2 words merged together, Jared and Butler, is that the scariest combo of words in the conference right now?
I mean, I can't think of, a better player. I think if the season ended today, he would be the unanimous Big 12 player of the year. Just what he's done. And I think it speaks volumes to the way that he was able to bounce back after the game against Texas Tech. I mean, the rest of the team really had to step up where he only had, I believe it was 7 points in that game. But it was similar, too, to what he did with the Oklahoma game. He only had 8 points and then came out and had a monster game, 28-point performance against TCU. So to be honest, I was expecting, a lot from him and kind of that, rhythm that we're seeing. He might have a down game one game, but the next game he's going to come out hot. So I think it was, for Kansas, definitely a scary factor for them, knowing that he was looking to get back to his potential and what he's capable of. And he definitely, showed that last night. We saw everything. I mean, from his offensive abilities beyond the arc, driving, and also, defensively and his elite passing ability. I think all aspects of his game are, top notch and as good as you can get. And he is the best player in this conference in my mind.
On top of that, I would be remiss to say the crowd didn't fuel Jared Butler because it had to have. From what I heard last night being in the arena was a crowd that sounded pre-COVID. It sounded almost normal. And I was telling some of the guys beside us, we've seen crowds of 2,500 people at a basketball game before. And it's typically not very loud because it's just people come and go and they're there on a random Wednesday night watching Baylor and Southern. But last night, 2,500 people that were all there to watch basketball and to yell as loud as they could. From your perspective and what you got to see, was that crowd surprising at all?
It was the loudest crowd that I've heard all season watching on TV. And I think Jay Billis said the same thing, the ESPN broadcaster. So, yeah, it was great, to see the fan base back there, the students back and being loud. And I know Coach Drew tweeted about that, having the support of the students, being back was really exciting for the team. So, it's in a year where, I think back to, I had mentioned off the top, I was at that game when Baylor hosted Kansas last year, and it was the best basketball environment I've ever been in. It was just electric. So, I think back to moments like that and having college game day there and that environment. But, we take what we can get here in 2020, 2021. And I think it was definitely, by far one of the best crowds that I had heard on TV all year.
As you say that, I think the Farrell Center, you could have about 11 people, and if they're all there to yell, it's going to be deafening. That's just the way the thing is built, and it helped out last night where capacity at 25%, Baylor fans were still able to show up and show out. But you talked about that game last year, College Game Day. Baylor comes in with maybe a chip on their shoulder, thinking back to that loss. It's still fresh in their mind because it was one of the final games of the year last season and kind of set up their trajectory for the end of their slate. How different does Baylor look from that game to now in your eyes as a team?
I just think, they have a lot of the same pieces, right? Other than losing Freddie Gillespie. But, I think all the guards have just improved tremendously. So from Mitchell, Teague, Butler, all three of them are playing on a completely different level. And even, I think the whole team's tremendously improved. And I do think a little bit of it, Butler plays really well when he's playing against Kansas. In the last, I believe, 3 or 4 games, his numbers have just been astronomical. He had a career high in that game against Kansas last year. But no, they're playing on a different level in all aspects of their game, from their shooting to their defense.
From not just a gameplay standpoint, but a personality and representative standpoint, these players, from what you've seen as a media member in the Big 12, do the Baylor players just sound a little bit different? I know Armstrong and I, we talked, we're blown away with the maturity level of the Baylor basketball team and what they bring to the table when they're sitting in front of cameras. Do you see that too?
Yeah, I think one of the new additions this year to Baylor, Chama Chachua, he is as mature as they come. I think his story, is absolutely amazing. They nicknamed him Everyday John for a reason with Coach Brooks. Came up with that. That whole idea of needing to be great, needing to have a routine and do these mundane things to be better than everyone else. And I think, John, he exemplifies that, but I think the rest of the team kind of has that same aspect and same regard. I think Butler looks much more mature in every way possible from last season. And I think that's a great point. I do think this Baylor team, what they went through last year, knowing how high their ceiling could be and knocking off Kansas in Allen Fieldhouse for the first time in what seemed like for forever. It was for forever. And then, they get down there, they host Kansas. Those were the two teams in the Big 12 last year. Definitely could have made a Final Four run, 2 best teams in the conference. So I think what they went through last year and having the NCAA tournament canceled and taken from them, I think that grows you up a lot. And I think they're all really benefiting from, the adversity that they faced in that.
And as this mature team continues to get better and better, it seems, with the bigger matchups, they've played so well to their competition on the big stage this year. Would you say, as Baylor gains separation in the Big 12, that right now today, Baylor's the best team in the conference?
Yeah, it's hard to argue against that just from what we've seen this season. I think Baylor has really separated themselves. In my mind, it's really Gonzaga, Baylor, and everyone else. That's not to say, though, in a year where we've seen some crazy things happen, especially with COVID-19 and, potentially losing some players, depending on what happens. Praying for the safety, obviously, and health of all of our student athletes. But, I don't think you can say they're a Final Four lock just because there's still a lot of basketball left to be played and a lot of uncertainties in a year like this. But I really do think they're up there on a different level after, what we've seen in the first few weeks here of conference play.
Morgan Uber joining us in the Big 12 Conference, a Big 12 digital correspondent. So, Morgan, we'll end it here. Baylor and Gonzaga. I'm not sure what you've seen of the Zags, but they have 3 of the top 10 players in the country in my book on my rankings. Baylor has maybe 2 of the top 15 in the country. If those 2 teams square off today, is there any separation? Is there anything that tells you one team may be better than the other if that was to go down neutral site today?
Well, I think we would just want Jared Butler to have maybe a little bit rough go the game prior to the Bears facing Gonzaga. We can see, what he is capable of if he has a rough game and able to bounce back. I think what separates Baylor is Jared Butler. I think just in their defensive abilities. So I definitely think there's potential. It was a bummer that game ended up getting canceled, but I think it honestly sets up what could be a national championship, game. So, while it was kind of a bummer in one regard, it's something that we potentially have to look forward to. So I think, Baylor has the potential to do it. And, what makes them so special is they have the ability to win in different ways. Some nights it's Butler, some nights it's their bench, combining for 40 points like they did against Oklahoma. So you really never know who or, how many players are going to step up for the Bears. But, I'm a Big 12 girl, so obviously that'd be the team I'd be pulling for.
I love it. Morgan Uber joining us from the Big 12 Conference. Morgan, every day on this show, we play the Bear games. It's what we ask every guest and caller on the back end of their time joining us. So today's Bear games question of the day. If you could quarantine with one Baylor coach, who would it be and why?
Oh, gosh. For me, it's Scott Drew, right? I think for I'm not the best basketball player, and what he's done with player development and being able to bring players in, like Freddie Gillespie, transferring from Division III to becoming one of the best Division I players and now in the G League. Maybe he could develop my basketball game a little bit and help me there. So I think, Scott Drew, I would love to be able to quarantine with him. If he could help me in my basketball game, that would be great.
Yeah, we've had Scott on the show. We had him on earlier a couple weeks ago. And I'll tell you, I don't know if there is a more positive presence in all of college basketball, maybe all of college athletics, than Scott Drew. Take one off the chin and lose by 10. The guy's still smiling, win by 30. And he's a bright presence. I don't think you can go wrong with Scott Drew.
I couldn't agree with that more. Every time I've had the opportunity to speak with him, he's just, a ray of light, so positive. So, I think that one's a no-brainer for me.
Absolutely. Morgan Uber joining us in the Big 12 Conference, a digital correspondent for the league. Thanks again for joining Up Tempo today.
Thanks so much, Jake. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great to have you on. Again, Morgan Uber joining us talking Baylor, Kansas basketball. The Bears win it last night, 77-69 on top of Kansas. Oh, Armstrong, I can't get over it. The single worst beat. This year.
Did you have some money riding on that?
I did not.
Okay,
I
good.
did tell you
that's good.
that I have thought about investing.
You did tell me that.
In some in legal sports betting.
You've told me that.
But I have not done so yet. Although I am considering. What say you, Armstrong?
What say I about betting?
Yeah, because I'll say this. I didn't touch it last night. I wouldn't have touched that. If you did, why?
Yeah, no, I never bet on anything.
Right.
But I would have taken the over.
Oh, yeah. I could see it.
I'm not a betting man, so I didn't, thankfully.
Baylor being at home, I think the over, I agree the over would have hit. But also at the spread, it being -8.5, no. No bueno. Not for me. I would not have lost on that one. If you did bet that, then congratulations. Colt Barber tweets here, Jared Butler is averaging 18 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, and 3 steals, while shooting 42% from deep through 6 games in Big 12 play. The strangest part, I think, Armstrong, too, is that it has not been necessarily consistent, you know?
Yeah, no, it hasn't.
Like, Morgan talked about that. She said, if Baylor and Gonzaga are playing, you better hope that Jared Butler had an awful night in the game before, because he's going off, absolutely going off. So, when you look at Baylor and Jared Butler, they don't win. They don't win without Jared Butler last night. And if Jared Butler plays like that consistently, I think Baylor is the best team in the country.
Absolutely.
That from Colt Barber. This on Up Tempo coming up next. We'll talk a little bit of how about Bears and Bust coming up next, Armstrong. And then we're going to hear from Scott Drew, Jared Butler, Mark Vidal, and Bill Self. The Bill Self part, flipping awesome, man. Flipping awesome.
I'm excited.
Bill Self has a whole lot to say about Baylor and high praise for Scott Drew and his squad. This is Up Tempo.
Across college athletics last night, the number 2 Baylor men's basketball team boasted a 77-69 win over 9th-ranked Kansas in the Farrell Center, thanks to Jared Butler's 30 points and 8 assists, shooting 7 for 9 from deep.
Another ball screen from Tchamwa Tchatchoua. Another three for Butler.
With the win, the Bears improved to 9-1 against ranked teams over the last 2 seasons, and the game marked Baylor's first win against Kansas in the Farrell Center in 3 seasons. Elsewhere, number 23 UConn lost at home to unranked St. John's 74-70, and Florida State won at Louisville 78-65. In tennis, number 15 Baylor swept SMU twice yesterday to keep their record perfect on the season, and the 23rd ranked women swept Rice 7-0 in Waco as they also remain unscathed. I'm Armstrong Simpson. That's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
When it comes to hauling the family and hauling cargo, see Alan Samuels. Get the king of minivans, the award-winning Chrysler Pacifica, or America's lowest price third-row crossover, Dodge Journey. During the Big Finish event, get 0%, no payments for 90 days, and employee pricing for all on Pacifica. It's minivan first class. And get employee pricing for all on new 2020 Dodge Journeys. Happy holidays from your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
19 feet, 5.75 inches. A new NCAA record for Casey Lightfoot.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122. For your company's mass COVID testing, log on to impacthealthlabs.com. Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Welcome back into Up Tempo, a Baylor take on your lunch break, contrary to the fastest 3 hours in radio. That's what I voted, but I got outvoted by you guys because it's not my show. It's your show. You said Baylor take on your lunch break, so we're going with it. T-Rex is on the Impact Health Labs caller line. T-Rex, you're on with Up Tempo.
Hey, gentlemen. Good morning. What a day. What a day we had.
I saw you there last night. You were there last night.
Hey, I didn't see you, but I'm sure I heard you, which brings me to my first topic of discussion here. First off, shout out to obviously all our fans that showed up. I don't know if that was 25% because who knows what, visually what that would look like. But I would say we at least got pretty close. So shout out to everyone that showed up, even the KU fans who wasted their money coming. Shout out, stimulate the economy. We appreciate it.
T-Rex, 22%. The official crowd was somewhere around 2,300 people. You could have fooled me. I thought it was 10,000.
Hey, it sounded like 10,000. But, shout out to the students that showed up. I just want, in case, and who knows if they are listening, but if you are listening and you are a student, I just want you to know that there are more basketball games. So please come back.
True.
I'll leave that at that. Just please come to the games you can come to. Sing is cool and all, but winning national championships is cooler. So the team deserves to have a full student section. So
as someone who has never been in Sing, I can still confirm that national championships are cooler than Sing.
Hey, everyone has their thing. I think Sing's cool and all, but, show up if you can, at least 25% of you. So appreciate all the students that showed up. I feel like they raised some hell. It was a good time last night. Shout out to the KU family section that sat right below myself and some others. As I'll let them know at the end of the game, I'll see them again on February 27th for round 2. So appreciate y'all coming down. Thank you. Come again. Would you like another? Because I got plenty to give. Anyways, got a question for both of y'all. Now, Armstrong, congratulations. I hear you're a full-time guy. Are you still in school or are you done with school?
I am done with school. Thank you, by the way. I just graduated in December. So I was part-time starting in September, and now I'm full-time. So
congratulations. Well, my question was with the semester starting was Drake, how are you going to – do you just not take any classes after 11 a.m.? I'm just curious.
So I'm glad you asked this. And we had another Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line message from Stephen from Virginia that's kind of related. So I have a 9 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which is doable. And then I have a 3:15 on Tuesday, Thursday, which I hate afternoon classes, but SOCKS, it is what it is. Outside of that, though, COVID, almost everything's online. It's asynchronous. So I can do all my schoolwork on Monday or Friday, which is most likely when it's going to be, and turn it in. So it's an adjustment. It's different. I start today. I have a class today, actually, 3:15. And wow. I say 3:15. I haven't checked my schedule in detailed enough to know when my class is. Yep. So hopefully it's at 3:15 and I didn't schedule that incorrectly. But yeah, it's gonna be quite the adventure there, T-Rex.
Hey, well, you know what? Stay in school, kids, So I was just curious, how y'all are going to be able to do the show if you had classes. But, hey, as we do on Up Tempo, we adapt and overcome. Armstrong, I saw you saw my message on Twitter. I got a towel for you, brother. Don't worry, I'll get that to you.
Thank you.
Wish you could have been there last night. It was a good time. Other than that, hey, you got the equestrian coach on, so we're good to go there. I'm sure Ashley Hodge is happy about that. I hear he's a huge equestrian guy.
You asked me. It was either you or Matt.
What was that?
Either you or Matt, asked me, said, hey, are you going to cover equestrian? It may have been both of you that asked about equestrian. And boom, consider it done. Your show, not mine.
Hey, it is a show for the people.
Bingo.
So the people appreciate it. Real quick, shout out also to both men's and women's tennis programs. I know y'all mentioned that. Huge double sweep for the men, and pick up 4 wins, and women picked up 3 wins, all undefeated. Michael Woodson is undefeated as a head coach in men's tennis. So shout out to them. More trophies. So if you're a local trophy case manufacturer in Waco, maybe you should sponsor the Up Tempo podcast because you're about to get some business.
Wow.
Sicem Bears. Podcast. I'm ready for some Bear game.
Podcast. Come on. Put some respect.
Hey, Up Tempo Radio Show. I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's because I call him Bigfoot. That's why he does it. He just wants to pester me. Kendall Wright or Ahmad Dixon?
Oh, Ahmad Dixon all day long.
And
just because that man, he played with a chip on his shoulder, I feel like, and I like that.
Yeah, okay. I like it. He didn't. I don't know that he scored any touchdowns. He might have. But he's a hard hitter.
He prevented a lot of touchdowns.
True. I'll retweet that. James Lynch or Terrence Williams?
I'm gonna go with T. Will.
T. Will. I like that too. And he caught the touchdown pass from RG3 to beat Oklahoma. Can't forget it. Legendary play. However, James Lynch was Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. Double-edged sword.
It is what it is.
That's a good way to put it. And then how about one Baylor coach you can quarantine with? Who's it going to be?
Oh, it's going to be our new strength and conditioning coach for football, as I'm calling from my garage gym, unboxing some packages from Rogue Fitness. So we'll just lift and eat, mostly eat, because, I mean, that's what 99% of working out really is just eating and making excuses. We only lift weights so we have an excuse to eat more and don't feel like we're just obese. So I would hang out with him. We would just eat and lift weights every once in a while and eat more.
T-Rex and Vic Valoria staying COVID safe together.
Hey, you know what? He can spot me from 6 feet away.
I love it. T-Rex, thanks for calling Up Tempo.
Hey, Sicem Bears, let's have a good week. Grind it out. Friday's coming. Don't worry, guys. Weekend will be fun.
Friday's
Sicem Bears, come out.
Bring it on,
He's out.
T-Rex. T-Rex out. Telling you, man. Every day, I think more and more. Maybe, just maybe, if Bigfoot had to be another one of our callers, what are the odds? You decide.
What are the odds Bigfoot comes on, are you asking?
No, I'm just asking, like, what are the odds that Bigfoot may be the same person that is another one of our callers, just as an alias? That's see what I'm saying? We have Steven from Virginia on the Impact Health Labs caller line. Steven, you are on with Up Tempo.
You just hit me with a really interesting theory there about Bigfoot. I just want to say for the record that I am not Baylor Bigfoot.
Okay, Steven's not Baylor Bigfoot. Steven, have you narrowed down your college search list?
I'm ready to talk about what a great time it is to be a Baylor Bear, though. We have a great football program. We have a great basketball program. We have a great women's basketball program. We have a great soccer program. We have a great tennis program. We have a great baseball program. The women's basketball program is the elite of the elite.
True.
How exciting is this? And I am talking to the next Trey Wingo, who happens to host a show with a former Matt Rule coach Baylor football player.
That's
this
true.
Is like
That's true.
The level as cool as it gets.
Wow.
J.D. Piquel did play under Matt Rule at Baylor. And not only that, Steven, you've been alive for a little bit. You remember when Baylor wasn't very good at very many sports.
I do remember that, and that's why I made this point. Is we got a second. I was at the '99 UNLV Kevin Steele game. I got to tell you, we drove down from St. Louis to Waco, and we stayed with my grandma in Dallas usually, but we were supposed to spend the night in Waco. But after that happened, the ball fumbles, they run it back. My mom, my dad, my 7-year-old self, and my 2-year-old brother, we all rode back to Dallas in silence the whole way, not remembering that we were supposed to stay the night in Waco.
No.
I mean, we still might not have talked about that day since that day. We showed up at my grandmother's house at 11:30, and she had no idea why we were there. It was, I don't think there's a worse loss in sports history.
Arkansas lost to Citadel in the 90s. That would be like my personal, I remember that. And they fired their coach the day of. Do you think that UNLV game is the reason that Kevin Steele did not get the Auburn nod?
I wish. I can only hope so much.
I think that's part of it. I think that moment right there is just marred in Kevin Steele history.
I honestly, what's amazing is Kevin Steele has been the interim head football coach of 2 SEC programs in the last 3 weeks. So he's certainly been a little bit busier than the last few years. I'm not really sure, why he keeps. There were a lot of things, and I got to say, I'm actually writing a paper for my English class. It's kind of a satirical piece, but it's why that football call turned us into a Back to the Future alternate reality, space-time continuum, alternate universe where we now reside. I've been living in a pretty big conspiracy bubble for the last day, and it's not healthy.
Wow. What have you brought to the table here, Steven?
It's pretty, I mean, you can see that if you think about it, Kevin Steele made that call, and right around that time, Baylor University decided that they were going to put a tremendous more emphasis on athletics. They hired Dave Bliss. Dave Bliss had the situation, and then he got...
That's a way to put it.
And then he got let go, and the president of the university got let go. And then we got Ken Starr, and Ken Starr's absence from Republican leadership also indicates a rise in Democrats' rise to power. But then when Ken Starr leaves the university, he also becomes a big part of the Republican Party. And now the MyPillow guy is planting a coup in the White House, and we're really chill about it. So I'm not really sure. This has been a really conspiracy bubble that I've gone down, and people are probably mad at me. But
wow.
It's an A+ paper, my friend.
Steven from Virginia bringing up his version of the truth, telling it like it is. No holds bar. You can tell him Steven from Virginia said it.
Put my name on it. I said it. Wow. Take it easy, Drake.
Steven, thanks for your call. Here's what we got, Armstrong. Bears and busts today.
You want to break first?
Yeah, let's hit a break. I'm Drake Toll. That's Armstrong Sims. This is Up Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
The holidays are here, and I have a simple question for you. Will you weigh as much more or less than you do right now when the holidays are over? Why not end the year in better shape than when you started and create momentum for 2021? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has numerous options for stocking stuffer gifts with gift cards for gym or tennis membership, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, tennis lessons, and personal training. Perhaps a gift for a client, a family member, or a friend. You just need to walk through the front door to change your life. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. Spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation. A tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So get the best and healthiest Christmas gift you can for someone or yourself. It's time to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Happy Tuesday, everybody! Last night, Baylor 77, Kansas 69. The Bears win it in Waco, a top 10 matchup. Baylor shows the big dogs in the Big 12 run through the Brazzers, and I'm not talking UT. Baylor, number 1 in the conference, gaining separation. Now Texas has to beat BU twice to win the conference title this season. I don't see it happening. I think Baylor, with the win last night, has captured, not only have they captured the driver's seat, I think they've done it. A lot can happen between now and then, but that was the cog, the vital cog that Baylor needed, the start to winning the Big 12 championship. On top of Kansas by 8 last night, and that takes us right into our Bears and Busts from the last week. Who are the Bears? Who are the guys that really showed out? They did things big. And the bust. Who are the people that I'm just not happy with? That just didn't do their best in the last week and could be and should be better. Starting with our Bears. Bear number 1, Jared Butler. I know you're out there listening. Jared Butler, Bear number 1, after a 30-point performance last night. 8 rebounds. 7 for 9 behind the arc after he put up just 7 points against Texas Tech, a game in which he started 0 for 5 in the first half. In the second half, he doesn't score until 35 minutes in. When he does score against Tech, he knocks down a couple of big shots, but then he says, hey, Kansas is coming to town. We need to win this. Baylor goes up by 16. Kansas says, hey, not so fast. We're still in this puppy. Kansas marches it all the way back within 5, and then Jared Butler, step back, dagger of a three-pointer. He was unconscious last night. Jared Butler, my first Bear of the last week, as he led Baylor to the win. Baylor does not win that game. Baylor does not win the game unless Jared Butler plays like that. Now, I guess the question could be posed. If Jared Butler doesn't play last night, does Matthew Meyer become Jared Butler and score 30 points on 7 for 9? The world may never know. Armstrong's shaking his head no. But it's possible. No Matthew Meyer last night. Very sad.
Well, he played. He was just non-existent.
It was not Matthew Meyer time. It was too late for Matthew Meyer time.
It was definitely not Matthew Meyer time.
My other Bears. Mark Vital. Mark Vital gets a tweet from Fran Fraschilla. Fran doesn't just say it. He tweets it. That Mark Vital is just not the same. That Mark Vital is a little bit different. That things aren't as they should be in the world of Mark Vital. You know what Mark Vital says? Okay. Mark Vital said in the press conference that he sees all the tweets and everything. Fran Fraschilla. Painful for me to say this, but it's not the same Mark Vital of last season. Is he in shape? Would love to see that fire again. Is he in shape? Blasphemous. Fran Fraschilla takes one look at Mark Vital and says, that guy's out of shape. Mark Vital says, fake news, Fran Fraschilla, and I'll prove it to you. I'll score 4 points. But not just 4 points. How about some alley-oop dunks, 10 rebounds, goes out last night, a chase down block. The dude was dominant. You know what he was? He was a glue guy. And he wore the hoodie afterward that said, glue guy. Fran Fraschilla posts a picture. It says, just the start at Baylor men's basketball. Fran, what?
That's kind of strange.
Fran, I love you, man. Everybody, we all love you. We all love you. But just the start, nights after you posted how Mark Vital just wasn't the same anymore. Mark Vital, you're a bear. You're a bear for going out, using the fuel. He said, I hear all that. He hears all of it. But instead of just blocking it out, he said, I use it. Keep on tweeting. Come on with it. Mark Vital goes out. He's another reason that Baylor won the game yesterday. On the defensive front, it is tough to beat Mark Vital. My third bear. This one's coming kind of out of left field, but I think you guys are going to like it. It's Barbara Teague.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't have Barbara Teague in your Bears list this week, why? She came on the show last night. Not only did she come on the SicEm365 Baylor basketball postgame show, but so did Freddie Gillespie.
Yes, Freddie Gillespie called in.
NBA Freddie Gillespie calls in the show to talk to Miss Barbara. Barbara Teague killed it. I thought she killed it. Like when they were, because Ashley was talking about it, I was like, well, who's hosting with you? Is there audio on this? Just video?
He played phenomenally from top down. That's always fun to see.
Well, man, how are you? I know.
It's just them asking questions.
The G League draft number 2, and I think you told our radio guys that
Ashley,
you gotta wait
Barbara Teague, Freddie Gillespie calls on the show to talk to Miss Barbara. They get to do a little banter back and forth. But when Ashley told me, he said, yeah, Freddie or Maceo Teague's mom's coming on. I was like, okay, let's go. Bring it on. And she killed it. Spectacular. Barbara Teague, you are a bear this week for coming on the SicEm365 Radio post-game show last night, being an absolute hit. The world loved Barbara Teague. If you hadn't seen her before that, her debut, spectacular, stupendous. Now the bus. These are the people that I can't deal with right now, that I'm struggling with, that need help. Number one, those of you that didn't listen to JD and I and Armstrong and took the spread last night at Baylor -8.5, including a Kansas beat reporter from the Kansas City Star who had the Bears by 14.
Oh, yeah.
The shot at the end of the game from 45 feet out, nailing the three-pointer at random, 0.9 on the clock, and you lost your house on it. Because you said, oh, yeah, top 10 matchup. I got Baylor by 9. They'll do that. That's easy. Wrong. You know what? You deserve that shot to go in from 45 for taking that spread. Because here's the deal. There are so many other guarantees. Like, I guaranteed you that the Tech spread, 3.5, that Baylor would cover that. Guaranteed. What happened? Baylor won by 8. I said, Kansas, don't touch that. Don't touch that. So you sit there and you're excited because, 11-point game, we got it. This is it right here. Baylor's going to do it. They're going to win it. I'm going to win a lot of money. You didn't, but it was deserved. That, my first bust, those who took the spread last night. My other bust, AP voters. AP voters for college basketball. 62 people put Gonzaga at number 1 last Monday, okay? Great, that's fine. 2 people put Baylor at number 1. Okay. Most of the country says that Gonzaga is the number 1 team in the land right now. And that may not change. Their conference schedule is very easy. They're not going to lose. But then Baylor beats Texas Tech on the road by 8. They look good. Baylor looked good. 62-2. I wake up, see the AP poll, and still, Baylor, no respect. Same 2 people put them at number 1. Same 62 people put Gonzaga at number 1 after Baylor goes on the road, beats a top 15 team after that team went on the road and beat a top 5 team. And then, we're all going to vote for Gonzaga again because they beat Western Pacific. Oh, they killed San Francisco. Okay. Where is the respect for Baylor? AP voters are my second bust. My third bust. Do you have the video, Armstrong, for this? I get it. We're a college sports program, but we're a sports program. At the heart of things, we're a sports program. And this is the single worst thing that has come out of the sports world in the last week.
Write that thing. But we want Mahomes against Josh Allen, right? Like that's reasonable. And I'm sitting here this morning thinking, if I'm the NFL, Patrick Mahomes is going through protocol. I find the day Patrick Mahomes can play, that's when we play. Why not? The end, write that thing.
Why not? There are so many exponential reasons why not. Colin Cowherd goes on a radio show today and says, hey, Patrick Mahomes, NFL, don't play the game. Postpone the AFC Championship game between the Bills and the Chiefs until Patrick Mahomes is healthy, just so Mahomes can play. That's not how life works. It's not how it works. He gets hurt. The Bills get a shot. You just can't go on a radio show and say, oh, yeah, postpone a game. Fans bought tickets, TV schedule, all of it. Nah. For the sake of the NFL, let's move it for one player who got hurt. Never has that been done in the history of sports. Never in the history of sports. People argue it, and you can argue it this year with COVID. You'd be like, oh, well, they didn't play because they thought they would lose, and whatever. That can be your argument, and the other people are like, oh, well, it's just to be safe, and great. You go back and forth all you want on that. But at no point can you be like, yep, nope, we got to postpone that thing. Somebody's hurt. Well, we got to make sure they get back. That doesn't work. Not in life, not in sports. You can't say that. Colin Cowherd, reluctantly. I like Cowherd. Cowherd's my third bust this week. You can't do that, man. You can't do that. You can't postpone a game for the sake of one hurt player. That's the Bears and bust this week. The Bears, Jared Butler, Mark Vital, Barbara Teague, the bus, those who took the spread, AP voters, Colin Cowherd. Don't forget, if you're watching on Twitter right now, even on YouTube, you can go, put it on your TV, put it boop, boop, Roku, up-tempo, or you can go to the SicEm365 app. Download it from the App Store, listen live. You can close the app, go back, go about your day, do whatever you're doing, and still listen to Up-Tempo from 11 to 2, Monday to Friday. I'm Drake Toll. That's Armstrong Sims. Up next, we've got Scott Drew, Jared Butler, Mark Vital, and Bill Self, their comments after last night's game. This is Up-Tempo.
Across college athletics last night, the number 2 Baylor men's basketball team boasted a 77-69 win over 9th-ranked Kansas in the Farrell Center, thanks to Jared Butler's 30 points and 8 assists, shooting 7 for 9 from deep.
Another ball screen from Tchamwa Tchatchoua. Another 3 for Butler.
With the win, the Bears improved to 9-1 against ranked teams over the last 2 seasons, and the game marked Baylor's first win against Kansas in the Farrell Center in 3 seasons. Elsewhere, number 23 UConn lost at home to unranked St. John's 74-70, and Florida State won at Louisville 78-65. In tennis, number 15 Baylor swept SMU twice yesterday to keep their record perfect on the season, and the 23rd ranked women swept Rice 7-0 in Waco as they also remain unscathed. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
The holidays are here, and I have a simple question for you. Will you weigh as much more or less than you do right now when the holidays are over? Why not end the year in better shape than when you started and create momentum for 2021? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has numerous options for stocking stuffer gifts with gift cards for gym or tennis membership, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, tennis lessons, and personal training. Perhaps a gift for a client, a family member, or a friend. You just need to walk through the front door to change your life. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. Spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation. A tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So get the best and healthiest Christmas gift you can for someone or yourself. It's time to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
All right, rounding out the last hour of the day. 35 minutes left. We got Drake Toll, Armstrong, Sims, the Petty Clinic Low T, Bears Den. Baylor last night, 77-69 on top of Kansas. Baylor quite possibly the best team in the country. That's been said all season. They proved it again last night with a win against KU, a win in which they were up by 16. If you missed it early in the show, JD and I discussed it. The inconsistency that Baylor struggles with at times, the on and off switch. When it is off, Baylor is beatable, but they keep doing just enough to win and win games by healthy margins. 8-point win against Kansas. They have not won a game by less than 8 points this season. They had an 8-point victory against Texas Tech as well. Last night, though, Mark Vital, coming off of comments by Fran Fraschilla that Mark Vital was maybe out of shape or not his usual self or not as good anymore, Mark Vital responded with a monster game. If you watched it, you know how well he played on national television. Mark Vital proved he didn't go anywhere. And here are the highlights of his press conference post-Kansas last night.
Mark, just wanted to ask you, there had been some folks that on Twitter had mentioned your play and you had called it, I think, fake news. Did that inspire you to really make this game one where you were going to show, hey, I'm still the same Mark Vital that can do anything on the court?
Yeah, first of all, I think y'all need to test Fran Fraschilla. I don't know if he's sick. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he got COVID, what's going on. I never lost it. My teammates kept encouraging me, going through a lot of things. So my team always encouraged me to go. And tonight, I was my normal self tonight, even though I was going through a lot of deep stuff.
Mark, you mentioned those like tweets and things. How do you motivate yourself with things like that? Do you let it get to you, or is it just something that's just another log on the fire?
Nah, I don't really get to me. It's actually motivation. Every time someone tweets something about me, like I said, I see everything. I like it. And that's just something for me to work on. I needed that motivation, because like I said before, I was going through a time right now that, me and my teammates and everything had to help me with. And that tweet helped me a lot. And I love it when people tweet like that, so that's part of being me, being Mr. 95, They call me the villain, so a lot of people don't like me. That's fine. And I love it.
So by admitting this, are you now warning people like, hey, go ahead and tweet whatever you want about me?
Man, look, say what you want to say. At the end of the day, I'm one of the best defenders in the country. I got great teammates that motivate me, and great coaches that take care of me. You can say what you want to say. At the end of the day, that motivate me. And that's giving me a lot of fuel. So you just adding to the fire.
Mark, what was it like in the huddle after you guys had that big lead and I think they cut it to 5? What did y'all say to each other to kind of get back on track?
So what we did was, as being a vet team, we all knew where we was at and what we needed to do. At the end of the day, it's a game of runs. And playing in the Big 12, it's a tough conference. So, we got in the huddle and we talked and we just talk it out. Normally, younger guys, and when I was young, we used to get a little, messed up and something like, oh man, like they're done, we cut it to 5. But nah, we just talked it out, and then eventually we just went back out there and did what we had to do. We always got a job to finish.
And could you guys feel the momentum on your lob, on that play, on some of the other plays because of the fan arena and just some of those big plays that you had?
Yeah, like for real, like the fans was crazy. I mean, like a lot of people think that, just playing in arenas like this and it'll be boring. No, it was actually a great, great fan base today, and it was loud. And I mean, that gave me a lot of energy, along with Fran. He gave me a lot of energy too with that tweet. And I know he's going to see this. So, Fran, if you keep talking like that, I'm going to keep playing extra harder.
Shout out to Fran Fraschilla last night and his Twitter. That was basically the entire post-game press conference with Mark Vital was just about Fran Fraschilla's Twitter and how Mark Vital showed out last night. On the other side of that, 30 points from Jared Butler. Baylor does not win the game if it's not for Jared Butler going bonkers last night, scoring 30, 7 for 9 from deep, 8 assists, and here's Jared Butler after last night's game.
Yeah, Jared, obviously you were extraordinarily hot. Were you just kind of feeling it from the start?
I don't know what it is. I feel like God is so in control of my life. I just try to adjust to his plan, and my teammates did a great job finding me and kept believing in me. And we did a great job of staying the whole way, playing 40 minutes. Kansas is a good team. If you get up like that, you got to keep playing. And we did a great job of that.
You've played 5 games against them. You've averaged about 23 points. Is there something that gets you psyched up? Is it just Kansas, or what is it?
I think it's just my my will and competitiveness. I feel like whenever we play Kansas, it's supposed to be a big game. And I love big games. I love big moments. And I love doing it with my teammates too. So it's just a combination of all things.
And then, Jared, there were a couple of passes you had beyond your shooting today. One was a really quick touch pass you had that led to a layup. Another opportunity you had for a dunk. You passed out for a 3. In those situations, why did you feel like the pass would indeed be the better play? Because
it's a team that beats Kansas. It's a team that wins a game. Me trying to do it all by myself, it never works out that way. In order to win a Big 12, we need all 15 guys. We need everybody, all the staff. And, I just make sure that we play a team game, and I think we're unbeatable when we play that way.
Yeah, Jared, you talked about obviously responding every time KU made a run, and the closest they got first time was 56-51, and then you guys answered with that alley-oop that you threw to Mark, and then you had the 3 on the next sequence. Just take us through those 2 plays there and what you saw.
Yeah, we kind of run like a weave series, and Mark's always looking to alley, and his guy's always helping off because he doesn't shoot threes. But I think a lot of the attention was on me after I just shot the ball so well. They just were just staring at me, and then Mark is always looking for lobs, and I got him. And I think the next 3 I just shot it. I don't really remember, but yeah.
Jared Butler post-game right there from the Kansas win. 30 points, 8 assists, 7 for 9 from deep. Jared Butler took over the ball game. Credit where credit's due. Gave credit to the big man upstairs, Jared Butler. We talked to Morgan Uber from the Big 12 earlier about the maturity of this Baylor team, these Baylor players. And Jared Butler plays right into that and how much he's, like she said, has grown up over the last year, 2 years, and now Butler, not just one of the very best players in the Big 12, but the entire country. ESPN has him at the number 2 player in the nation right now behind Luka Garza. Jared Butler, a huge night last night, and the reason that Baylor knocked off Kansas. Baylor does not win that game if it's not for Jared Butler. Now, Scott Drew came on last night as well and had comments after the Kansas win. As excited as always, Scott Drew of the Baylor Bears post-Kansas. Here you go.
Well, first and foremost, I think want to give an assist to the fans. The administration has done a great job in providing a safe environment at the Farrell Center, and we're allowed to have 25%. And today, that 25% really made a big difference. So they deserve the assist for the game. Obviously, Jared Butler was on fire tonight. And that's the great thing about having a lot of talented players. It's not going to be your night every night, but when it is your night, we got an unselfish group that does a great job getting them the ball. And I thought Mark Vital really had some extra juice in him tonight. 10 rebounds, Flo with 7 and 4, and John with 8 and 5 to get us a rebounding advantage of 29-23, which was really critical. You know, coaches are always going to be upset with something. 18 turnovers was way too many for our group, but they are top 10 defense. Give them a lot of credit for that too.
First question from John Werner with the Waco Tribune Herald.
Scott, you've seen Jared do this before against Kansas. He's averaged 23 points in 5 games. What is it that he plays so well against them?
I don't know. We're just going to bring Kansas jerseys to everyone we play and see if they'll put them on. But I think, again, credit his teammates, because when the guy gets going, and last game it was Davion, and I mean, whoever's turn it is, the guys really do a good job in feeding them.
And then Scott, KU cut it to 5. You ran a dribble weave kind of play where Mark gets lobbed, and it eventually led to a John layup later on. Kind of what was the evolution of that set for you all, and why did you think that might work out at that time of the game?
Well, I think we got a little stagnant. We didn't move the ball as well, and defensively they got more aggressive, and I thought it put us more in a state where we were being more aggressive and running offense with the pace.
Were you a little surprised they fired up that 3 at the end when normally they dribble it out?
I think we'll be on Scott Van Pelt's bad beats.
Coach, coming off 2 big wins over ranked teams in 3 days, how do you keep the same energy when you play some of those other Big 12 teams that aren't ranked and maybe don't have the same excitement around the game?
Good question. And again, that's why the importance of every game in the Big 12 means so much. And we're really blessed in this league because you don't have to motivate as much as you think, because when you talk about each team, they got great players, and our players know about those great players, and they know how tough it is to play on the road or play those teams. So, again, if you have a player-led team, they pass that information on.
Hey, Coach. When in each half, Mark Vital made a really significant play. In the first half, he had that chase down or contest that led you guys a 7-0 run. In the second half, he had the lob from the Butler's pass that stopped a 8-0 run and led you guys on 9. I was just curious if you could talk about each of those plays and how your teams from your perspective, and just talk about Mark a little bit and the energy.
Thanks. Good question. So first, those are momentum plays. I mean, when you get those alley-oop dunks, when you make a great defensive play like Mark did, those really get the crowd involved, and our players feed off of that. But at the same time, the timeliness of especially that alley-oop was huge to stop the run, turn the momentum back on our side. Again, I thought Mark had great pop tonight, great energy tonight. He was outstanding, and defensively he really did a great job out there as well, which he always does. But I thought there were several times where a couple players came off of switches, and he really did a good job. Well,
that was Scott Drew last night after the Kansas win, 77-69 on top at the Farrell Center. By the Numbears tweets, Baylor's lowest win probability against Kansas was 86.3%. Lowest win probability during the game. Oh, did I say during the game? Yeah. That was the win probability before the ball was tipped. It only went up from there. Jared Butler hits a 3. The rest is history. Baylor wins it against Kansas in the Farrell Center last night. On top of all of that, even better to me than hearing from Scott Drew last night was hearing from Bill Self about Baylor, what he saw on this team. A reporter asked him to compare Baylor and Gonzaga, and Bill Self, one of the best coaches in college basketball history. That's objective. His comments on Baylor, beautiful.
Hey, Coach, on a number of occasions, you guys cut it to single digits and then, I don't know, a turnover, or they blocked a shot, or did you ever feel like you guys were on the verge of maybe really making a run?
Well, I thought we got it to 5, so I thought we played pretty well. I'll be honest, guys, we played damn well the second half. I mean, they made some, one guy beat us, and he was great, but they made some shots, and of course we made shots too second half. But I thought we played well the second half, and you eliminate our live ball turnovers that led to points. I mean, we played that's about as well as we played in a stretch. To be honest with you, I thought it was pretty good considering we put ourselves in a hole where we're down 16. But they're good. They're a bad team to play from behind with because of the guards they have, and you foul and they make all their free throws. What were they tonight? 12 or 13. So it was and the wrong guys shot them. So for the most part, but I was I'm leaving out of here. I'm not leaving out of here mad. I'm leaving out of here disappointed without question. But, you take a couple of things from this. I thought we fought pretty hard.
Bill, you've now seen Gonzaga and these guys. How do you think the two compare?
Well, I would be shocked if there's a third that fits into that category. We saw Gonzaga actually run it right down our throat right from the beginning. We saw Baylor do the same thing tonight. So the games were actually pretty similar. Baylor, I think, had us down 14 or 16 or something, and Gonzaga had us down the same thing. And, we came back and tied Gonzaga. We didn't quite get close enough to do that today, but I think they're both terrific. You could say this, Thamba and Vital and Jonathan, their stats hurt us as much as anything. They combined for 19 rebounds and what are they, 5 of 8 and 4 of 5. So what's that, 9 of 13 from the field and 19 rebounds. That they were just solid. And so they played great. We were fortunate, obviously that Teague didn't make threes. He got 4, but he didn't make, but Mitchell made his. So really, I think that this was a game where Gonzaga probably beat us with all 5 of their guys. And tonight, let's just give the guy credit. Hey, Butler did a lot of that on his own tonight. So I don't know which one I'd say better. They're both terrific.
Hey, Coach, KU will potentially play Baylor 2 more times this year, once at Allen Fieldhouse and potentially during March Madness. What changes need to be made for Kansas to walk away with both wins against Baylor?
Well, we got to play better, and we'll try to learn from this and hopefully be better prepared the next game, and they'll do the exact same thing. Let's not get this too twisted. Baylor's better than us right now. That doesn't mean that we can't beat anybody any night, but our margin for error isn't what their margin for error is right now. They've got a really good basketball team, and we got a nice basketball team, a pretty good basketball team. But there's more things that have to go right for us to beat somebody like Baylor or Gonzaga than what has to go right for them to beat us right now. And that's not being negative. That's just a fact. And so, I like what you're saying, but I don't have any idea what we need to do. We probably need to pass it better and not turn it over and rebound it better and hope like heck they don't shoot it the same. But that'll be interesting to see how we can kind of set our guys up to be in better positions to win. But right now, I think it's way too early.
Wow. Bill Self coming out and saying Baylor is better than Kansas right now, that Baylor can play mistake-ridden basketball and still win where Kansas cannot, and that just blatantly Baylor is the better team, that Baylor is better than Kansas right now. That from Bill Self last night. My favorite part of that, too, is he said, the reporter is like, so what do you do? How do you beat Baylor next time? And he says, I don't have any idea. And then he goes on and explains like 4 or 5 different ideas that he has on how Kansas could beat Baylor coming up. But they'll get a chance to match yet again at Allen Fieldhouse here in a month or so. Kansas and Baylor duking it out again. But right now, Bill Self says, as things sit, Baylor, better than Kansas at basketball. They have the upper hand, and the Bears can do things that Kansas doesn't have the liberty of doing. Kansas can't make as many mistakes, and Baylor didn't play perfect basketball last night. Again, they hit the off switch at times. They still win it by 8 against Kansas. They're that good. They do things in the end. If you say, hey, you need to do this, it may look a little bit unconventional to get there, but the Baylor men's basketball team is going to do it. On top of that, we have highlights from last night. Armstrong got those queued up. Baylor and Kansas. Here are the best moments from that game.
Between 2 of the top teams in the country.
Just starting out the game, switching in their man-to-man. You get caught underneath, and Jared Butler just drills it.
The game for Baylor as well. The transfer from Presbyterian up top, and Vital slams it home. He's on. Chachua, let us know because we haven't seen it. Aaron pass. Nice look. Pass. Wide open.
That's just big time. I mean, Deron Harris is out in front. He just slowed down. You got to get to him with a rebound. What a hard worker. Great pass fake.
Chachua.
Beautiful pass by Maceo.
Again, about 2,300 fans here tonight at Farrell Center. Lothamba. He's having himself a big half.
One elbow screening for the other elbow.
Loader will go for T. Butler back in with a couple of fouls. And still feeling it. Butler with 50. Butler somehow got by two defenders. And Butler, why not? High enough. And the big guy running the floor as he always does. Remember, Baylor and Gonzaga were supposed to play earlier this year. Again, beautiful basketball.
Questionable shots.
Over the top to Vital. What a feed from Butler.
All that was not as much dribble.
Chachua. Getting a whole lot out of McCormick because of the foul trouble. They're going 5 out right now. No true big guys here. 77-69. Baylor over Kansas after that late three.
Wow, the Vital slams are unbelievable. Butler doing whatever he wanted to last night, shooting the lights out of the basketball. 7 for 9. 7 3-pointers. 21 of Jared Butler's points came from behind the arc in last night's ball game. And again, he puts another notch in the I should win the Naismith Trophy belt as Baylor knocks off Kansas in Waco for the first time in years. Jared Butler goes insane. And man, the highlights. Baylor just played. They can play that well when that switch is turned on. All right. Coming up after this, we've got some Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line comments coming in, comments and questions that we'll get to. Also, we've got celebrity birthdays and this day in sports history. I'll tell you, it's a pretty good day for celebrity birthdays, but they're a little bit older, Armstrong. We'll see how you do. I'm Drake Toll. It's Armstrong. Sam's got Armstrong's Minute coming up. A quick break, and we'll be right back on Up Tempo.
Across college athletics last night, the number 2 Baylor men's basketball team boasted a 77-69 win over 9th-ranked Kansas in the Farrell Center, thanks to Jared Butler's 30 points and 8 assists, shooting 7 for 9 from deep.
Another ball screen from Chachua. Another three for Butler.
With the win, the Bears improved to 9-1 against ranked teams over the last 2 seasons, and the game marked Baylor's first win against Kansas in the Farrell Center in 3 seasons. Elsewhere, number 23 UConn lost at home to unranked St. John's 74-70, and Florida State won at Louisville 78-65. In tennis, number 15 Baylor swept SMU twice yesterday to keep their record perfect on the season, and the 23rd ranked women swept Rice 7-0 in Waco as they also remain unscathed. I'm Armstrong Simpson. That's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools tools exposed? Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
All right, welcome back into Up Tempo, rounding out your Tuesday. Drake Toll alongside Armstrong Sims and the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Come on with it. The Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line. Jack Wheeler, our father, says, "Yo, I am shocked that y'all haven't talked to Aaliyah Miller yet for breaking the school record for indoor 1,000 meter that stood for 14 years. Armstrong, why haven't we talked to Aaliyah Miller yet?"
I'm sorry, I dropped the ball on that one.
Wow. Did you not see that on Twitter?
I didn't, actually. I didn't know that was a thing until right now.
I didn't either. Breaking the news for us, Jack Wheeler, but Will.
Our father, Jack
There
Wheeler.
it is, 1,000 meters. Number one in the Big 12 at 2 minutes, 44.19 seconds. 4x4, she's number one in the Big 12, number 3 in the NCAA, her a part of the 4x4 team. So Aaliyah Miller, maybe that's the next next track lead. What did JD call it?
Track lead, I think.
Track lead.
We need to get some more. We need to get some more just athletes in general on here.
I like having athletes on. I love having athletes on. Matt in DC said, "No one's a lock for the Final Four every year. Anyone can beat anyone in March. We have to get better in turnovers, avoid injuries, and not get sick when it comes tournament time." I think so too. Like a COVID year, we keep saying COVID year, but if Gonzaga if Timmy goes down with COVID or even like contact tracing, and that right there, that takes out one of the top 10 best players in the country, and you lose one of those guys, and that completely changes the entire mantra of your team. Same for Baylor, that if Butler goes down for contact tracing, now what? You know? What do you do then? What do you do then? And Baylor was one of the first teams to go through this. Remember when they had all these teams that were, we don't want to touch Baylor. We don't want to play Baylor earlier in the year because of COVID. It would have had Villanova. Would have gotten to see Baylor against Gonzaga and Villanova had it not been for COVID complications within the program.
Now, I think, while you say that, I think Baylor, more than any other team in the country, could do just as well missing a player.
Yeah. That said, if Jared Butler's gone, is Baylor a Final Four team?
Maybe not, but they're very close. Closer than any other team if you take away their star player.
Okay. Maybe. I don't know.
I absolutely think so.
Good depth, but if Butler's gone, that changes everything.
It changes a lot. It doesn't change everything.
Even on nights where he's not perfect, he contributes a lot to the team. What do you think?
For
sure.
sure.
Do you think he's the most valuable? Butler's the most valuable. If he goes out, we're done?
I think Butler's the most valuable for sure, but I don't know if he goes out, we're done.
Okay.
I think it makes it a lot harder.
This year from Scotty B, the Baylor King.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Definitely impressed by our men's basketball team last night with the win in Waco. What's more impressive was Baylor's men's tennis beat SMU twice, 7-0. Though the second match was very intense in both doubles and singles. In addition, the Baylor women's tennis team won 7-0 against a probable NCAA tournament team in Rice, despite windy conditions outdoors and very competitive overall both doubles and singles. Sweep in tennis. Both tennis teams still undefeated. The women
yeah.
number 23 in the country. The men number 15 in the country. We have Scotty B. the Baylor King also says, let's hope we can play Oklahoma State in men's basketball because I know Oklahoma State has paused activities due to COVID issues and didn't play last Saturday. It'll be tight. It may be like one of those Baylor women's basketball situations where they might not get to practice until the day of, and I don't know what they'll do with that at Oklahoma State. I don't know what they'll do with that. Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line question for you guys. Now that Baylor and Texas have a common opponent in Kansas, do you think those teams are the clear 1A and 1B teams in the conference? Yes. I think Baylor and Texas.
For sure.
I don't say 1A or 1B. I say 1 and 2. I think Baylor's a true number 1 in the Big 12.
For sure.
Texas is a true 2. I don't see Texas being good enough that we can give them the 1A, 1B nod to be comparable to Baylor. Not yet, anyway. We'll get to see that, but not yet.
I agree with that.
And then this also says, I'd go with Dave Aranda just to understand his defensive philosophies and understand X's and O's with which Big 12 coach this texter would like to quarantine with. And the texter also says, same Texas team that handed Kansas its worst loss at Fogg under 18 years of Bill Self, and Baylor hasn't done that.
Wow.
Which is true. Baylor has not done that yet.
Yeah.
Baylor was at home and won by 8. Texas won by like 23 on the road. Texas is good.
I mean, didn't Baylor get their first win ever there?
Yeah.
Last year?
Yeah.
That's not great.
No, but it's a new year.
It's a new era for sure.
It's a new dawn, the new
Absolutely.
blood, as they're saying. T-Rex, we got him in. We had some call issues earlier. Our call system went down, but this says, last night finally came to me. Butler and Teague are our two clutch go-to players when things get tight. That from Paul Underwood in Brownwood, Texas, not Mitchell. I think Davion is similar to a Mark Vital from a glue standpoint. He is the best ball handler on the team. That said, does Baylor have one true point guard, you know? Like Mitchell can shoot really well and plays unbelievable defense, but does Baylor have one just pristine ball handler that can dish it out? What say you?
I say Davion Mitchell is pretty darn close.
I say pretty darn close, but he's not a true point guard.
No, and Jared Butler's definitely not either, although he plays the position very well when he has to. But he's not a true point guard.
Texter also says, did you catch the wet blanket Billis's comment? At least Butler can be in the room when Garza wins it on the Naismith Trophy. What a tool. I don't know. If he actually said that, that's kind of mean.
Yeah, that is mean. But you know what? I think you would rather have the reason Jared Butler isn't in the conversation here is because he has 6 teammates who are playing out of their minds.
True.
Whereas Luka Garza is absolutely putting his team on his back. And I think if you're Jared Butler, you'd rather have a better team go win a natty.
Luka Garza is Trae Young-esque in the way that he just gets to do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
He gets to do whatever he wants. Celebrity birthdays today, Armstrong. Okay. Mac Miller. Oh, rip. Mac Miller would have turned how old today?
You just said rip.
Yeah, Mac Miller died. You don't remember this? Famous rapper Mac Miller? He's the number 1 most famous birthday today.
No. Oh, but I'm going to go, he would be 30.
29.
Hey, never heard of the guy. Literally never heard of the guy.
You've never heard of Mac Miller?
That's correct. I don't listen to rap at all.
I don't either, but I know who Mac Miller is.
This is why this is so bad, because you said before we started that you only ever ask me names that you know. But you know, like, modern pop culture. I only know, like, I only know, like, 20th century. Like, 21st century pop culture, I am not very familiar with.
Okay. Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton is 78.
Happy 75th birthday to Dolly Parton today.
Hey, I'm okay with that.
Jodie Sweetin. Remember Full House? Jodie Sweetin?
60.
39. You don't remember which character she was?
No, I don't.
She's
I don't remember.
She's not the little
You
kid,
got me.
obviously. That's
You
the
got me.
Olsons. She's the middle kid. She's the middle kid.
Got it.
There's a couple good ones in here. I want to save those, though. You've got Paula Deen.
No. Paula Deen is like 70?
74.
Okay.
74. I spoke.
See, I'm okay with these.
Paula Deen and I spoke at the same conference one time.
Really?
Yeah, I was in Savannah, Georgia, and had a conference and got to speak at this conference that she spoke at too. We spoke on the same day. It was kind of cool. She's insane. JaVale McGee.
She's insane. Okay. JaVale McGee.
Shaqtin' a Fool. JaVale McGee.
Okay. 40.
33. He's still in the NBA. 33.
Really?
Pete Buttigieg.
47.
Pistol Pete's 39. Young guy.
He is a young guy.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Edgar Allan Poe, like 120.
212.
212.
Edgar Allan Poe's old today.
He's that old?
Happy postmortem birthday, Edgar Allan Poe.
Okay.
Janis Joplin. Me and Bobby McGee, Janis Joplin.
85.
She would have been 78 today. You know how old she was when she died?
40.
27. The 27 Club.
Really?
Come on, man.
Who else is in the 27 Club?
Kurt Cobain. Mac Miller. Mac Miller's in the 27 Club. Yeah. Weird day for 27 clubs.
It is a weird day for 27 clubs.
What year did Lance Armstrong admit to doping in all 7 of his Tour de France victories?
2008.
13. Live strong, baby. And Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City beats the Tennessee Titans to advance to the Super Bowl, 35-24.
Last year.
2020! Nice job, Armstrong.
Yeah.
That's celebrity birthdays in this day in sports history. Tomorrow, the crazy hot Matrix guy is going to join the show at 11:15. This has been Up Tempo. Thank you. I am Drake Toll. That's our producer, Armstrong Sims. We'll be back tomorrow with some more Blonde Boys Power Hour. We'll do it all again. I got to get to class, baby. We'll see you guys later on Up Tempo.